Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to the Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, June 2nd, 2015. The entire board being present, we have a quorum. Mr. Zessin, lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. Let's bow our heads and pray. Father God, we give you thanks for another day that you've given us. We give you thanks for this beautiful weather that you brought today, Lord. We ask that you continue to be with all the precincts that are dealing with all the flooding, Lord. Help provide guidance for myself, my staff, the precinct leaders, and their staff as well, Lord, as they deal with all these flooding events that we're having here lately, Lord. I ask that you continue to give wisdom to the judge and the 4 commissioners as they carry on county business, Lord. Thank you for all you do in our lives, Lord. It's in Son Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Under open forum, we have one person signing up, Ms. Marta Sanchez.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Marta Sanchez, and I work with La Unión del Pueblo Entero. And I'm just here to thank Mr. Zessin in front of you because this past week he met with us, Mr. Zessin and Mr. Arredondo, and we're looking forward to really look for that website that you're going to put all the projects of the drainage in there to where we'll be able to find that information easily. We really are looking forward that it could be sooner than later. I also wanted to thank Mr. Zessin for willing to have a conversation with us about the different projects, but also just start a conversation and start a relationship so we can really have a better communication. We really appreciate his time and also the work that he's doing right now, especially with all the flooding that is happening. So we really appreciate that we're going to have a better like an open door policy where we can actually have these conversations more often. And so we also thank you for supporting that website and speed it up, hopefully, because we're really looking forward to see those projects up and running and have the ability to see it. Thank you so much.
On our consent agenda, any concerns?
Judge, we request approval on all items except number 3 and 4.
Move for approval of consent agenda excluding item 3 and item 4.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 5.
Item number 5, Judge, discussion on Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 drainage projects, maintenance, and operations. Just some general comments. Obviously, with all this flooding, we've been working with the precincts to try to figure out ways to move water via gravity, roadside grading, or pumping operations. So mainly the districts have been kind of leading that. We've just been providing some support, engineering information to help better guide the precincts on what to do or how to move the water from those flooded areas. So those are ongoing right now. We do have several projects that will be coming up on the Drew Drainage Development. We have one, Stewart Road Drainage Improvements, 5 3/4 mile. We've been working with Precinct 3 and their engineer that they have to see how we can get that project implemented to try to help that area get an outfall for that area. We have a couple in Precinct 1 right now, Adams and Black and Lucero del Norte, that we're working with their engineer as well to try to get that finalized, to get some plans in place to put some outfalls in those areas that are also prone to flooding. We also have over here in Precinct 4, we have the Hohen area drainage improvements. It's one of the developments that has had some flooding for quite some time. Currently, right now, there's drainage plans almost finalized, so we can put them out to bid and get some improvements in there. And then we have the Bandera area, which is on 17.5, and Tower Road, that we're also finalizing plans to get them out to bid to help some of that flooding area in that area. And just on additional comment, I guess, my office is tasked to run the floodplain administration program. I am the floodplain administrator for the county. What we have done is we've worked with our planning department, Mr. Arredondo and his staff, to streamline the approval process of the floodplain administration and of the floodplain program and the permits that get issued by the county. Mr. Arredondo currently has now himself and 3 other staff members that are certified floodplain managers. So that should help expedite the review of the applications and better planning for what we're doing out in those areas that are at flood prone. And we're just going to continue those efforts to work with the planning department in the county to make sure that what's being permitted has proper elevations, proper drainage, and that sort of improvement. So just general comments on that, Judge. I don't have anything else.
Thank you.
Great.
Next item, item 6.
Yes, sir. Requesting approval to purchase 6 new Caterpillar CT 660S dump trucks from Holt Truck Centers through the district membership with buy board contract number 43013 to exclude attendant service coverage and buy board fees in the total amount of $865,168.90.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval to purchase 1 new Cobelco SK 260 LC long reach excavator from Anderson Machinery through the district's membership with HEAC bike contract number EMO 615 to include extended service coverage in the total amount of $226,318.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Raul,
Yes, sir.
we've got that excavator, we had purchased, we had the drainage.
Yes, sir.
It's got 2 arms on it, the short one and the long one. Maybe the county, the drainage district might be interested in taking it over.
Yes, sir. No, and we are, Commissioner, my fleet operation manager has went and looked at it, got some information on it. We're trying to evaluate it, see what information you have on your book so we can take it over. We can definitely put it to use.
Yeah, it's got very little hours on it.
Yes, sir. We plan on taking that over, sir. Yes, sir. Item C, if I may, Judge, Commissioners.
Go ahead.
Request approval of a budget amendment for $1.5 million to appropriate out of the unreserved fund balance of the 2007-2008 bond funds. The purpose of this funds is to provide assistance to GLO East Lateral project that under the direction of Urban County. This amount is in accordance to the interlocal agreement as approved by the board on February 4th, 2015.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, requesting approval to purchase 2016 Ford Fusion from Silsby Ford through the district membership buy board contract number 43013 to include buy board fees in total amount of $18,577.75.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E, requesting approval to purchase 1 ARC-10 survey equipment from Western Data Systems through the district membership with Department of Information Resources, contract number DIR SDD 1796 in the amount of $28,104.49.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F, requesting approval to accept bid and approval to execute requirement agreement with lowest bidder meeting all specified requirements for RFP number ACDD 1-15-008-0513, gasoline and on and off highway diesel fuel, Gold Star Petroleum Inc.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
2013 bond series. Item G, requesting approval to accept bid and approval to execute construction contract with the lowest bidder meeting all specified requirements for RFP number 15-006-0429A, GLO contract number 12-406-000-6453, DRS 210068, Precinct 1, Tijerina Rural Development Drainage Project. Base bid with alternate number 2, International Consultant Engineers in the amount of $240,152.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H, requesting approval of work authorization number 7 in the amount of $19,738.40 with LNG Engineers as it relates to H&H analysis and US 83 relief route hydraulic study for the La Jolla Watershed Improvement Project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7, at this time, there'll be no action, Judge. What we were trying to do is just kind of create a guide for all the contractors that are doing work for the district and make sure we use the same forms and the same procedures when they submit so we expedite payment. Steve is doing a final review. We submitted to him a little late, so we will have it on next board agenda, but the intent here is to make sure that we provide the best guidance to our contractors doing work of the district so we can try to have a quick turnaround payment time. And I'll bring that back to the board next meeting. So no action on number 7 right now. If I may, number 8.
Yes, sir.
Discussion, possible action to require addition of sub-consultants with supporting documentation by supplemental agreement in accordance to Article 14, subcontracting and assignments for professional engineering services to include sub-consultants' labor rates. This is just item that is part of the requirements that we have in the contracts, but I just want to bring it back to the board to make sure, state for the record, that any sub-consultants that get added to the contract have to come to the board for approval. And no letter issue or anything. It's going to be brought to the board with the information back up to discuss and deliberate with you so you can affirm or make comments. So,
Move for approval?
Second.
Those
No
in
motion?
favor?
No.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
that was the last one.
Thank you, sir. Pursuant to 551-071 and 072, need a motion to proceed to executive session.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. put it. All right, we're now back in open session.
No trae corbata, ¿no?
He was out yesterday. Messed up his knee.
No, man.
Is Valde back there?
Getting the flood water out of a subdivision. Yeah, he wanted an injury. That made for a better story.
All right, Mr. Guerra?
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Under open session for the Drainage District, there is no action to be taken under 10A, Real Estate Acquisition. 10B, Pending and/or Potential, no action. 10C, Pending Potential Litigation, Discussion, Consideration, Possible Action related to the report submitted by the Lee Law Firm regarding the review report and recommendations concerning the agreement between Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 Intake Corporation. Judge Commissioners, we shall proceed, the Board of Directors, we shall proceed as directed. There's no reason to go back into closed session or open session, so all that's left is 13 adjourned.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're now going to be convening our regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court for today, June 2nd, 2015. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Raul?
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Father God, we give you thanks for another day that you've given us, this beautiful day today, Lord. We ask that you continue to be with this Commissioners Court, the judge and the 4 commissioners, all the leaders of the county, Lord, as well, all the elected officials, constables, sheriff, everyone, Lord, all the department heads, the employees, that they may do their job to the most of ability, Lord. Just continue to guide their thoughts and continue to provide wisdom as we deal with everyday issues and do the best that we can for our county, Lord. In your Son, Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Our consent agenda, any concerns?
Yes, Judge, there are some concerns. On my part, Judge, I'd like to separate from the consent agenda item 2C. Mr. Frasso is 2C.
Which one?
2D? C is in cat.
All right.
Is there any other agenda item, Mr. Frasso?
Also, 3H and 9J, Judge, I would like to
Move for
ask
approval
to
of
be
consent agenda to exclude 2C, 3H, and 9J.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, then. 2C. What's
2C, no action, Judge.
3H?
Judge Commissioners, on item 3H, there's a correction. Program 41 is Damien Acres. If we could just have it approved subject to that correction.
Move for approval, subject to that
Those in
change.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
9J, this is an addition and an enhancement to an already approved lease agreement with RICO. There is a typo. The extra monthly cost is $4.19. If that could be reflected in the agenda, $4.19, not the $3.38 as noted. And I do recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, that's all I have.
All right, at this time, we are honored to have in attendance the members of the Edinburgh High School Bobcat baseball team, and at this time, we're going to be offering a resolution.
I'd like to ask Coach Robert Valdez to come on up, along with assistant coaches David Kasprinsky, Toby Gonzalez, and Mike Soto.
6B.
And good morning, Judge and Commissioners. On the agenda, this item 6B, these fine young men that are lined up against the wall are this year's Bobcats baseball team. The last time they made it this far in the playoffs was 1956. Yes, sir.
Can we have all the team just come up
Sure,
front,
come on up.
just to be recognized better?
Come on up back here.
Go on
guys.
over here, guys.
And what these young men may not know is that we have two Bobcats on Commissioner's Court. County Judge Ramon Garcia is a 1966 graduate, class of 1966, and Precinct 4 Commissioner Joseph Palacios is a 1991, class of 1991. And he played shortstop. Okay, so whereas the Bobcats have experienced a stellar year capturing the Class 6A Region 4 Baseball Series Championship. Prior to Class 6A Region 4 title, they had worked their way up the series as district champions, by-district champions, area champions, and regional semifinalists. This weekend, they were one of 16 teams out of over 200 teams in Texas to make it to the semifinals. Whereas the 23 Sons of the Red and Blue are the first team to reach this round of playoffs since 1956. The team includes, and they're not all here, but raise your hand if you're here, seniors Jaime Alvarado, Michael Castillo, Carlos Morales, Ryan Amador, Manuel Ibarra, Luis Ortega, Marco Rivera, Randy Torres, and Alexis Garcia. And then juniors, Isaac Herrera, Matthew Trevino, Rudy Ibanez, John Gonzalez, Josh Aguirre, Daniel Solis, Daniel Garcia, Robert Patino, Alec Trevino, and Robert Valdez. And sophomores, Jaime Cancino and Mateo Gonzalez. And whereas Bobcats head coach Robert M. Valdez and assistant coaches David Kasprinsky, Toby Gonzalez, and Mike Soto spent countless hours mentoring and training the team in preparation for the journey through this year's victorious baseball season. Of 286 teams in the state of Texas, the Bobcats were one of only 16 to reach the semifinals. These young athletes have displayed incredible discipline, determination, and success, bringing great pride to their families, their school, the city of Edinburg, Hidalgo County, and the great sport of baseball. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes the Edinburg High School Bobcats for their teamwork, dedication, and sportsmanship, and congratulates the Bobcats on their victorious season.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Judge Garcia, fellow commissioners of the court, I'd like to take this time to recognize and thank you, gentlemen, for allowing the Sons of the Red and Blue the opportunity to be in front of you this morning. I would also like to thank all the outpouring support that not only the community of Edinburg has expressed during our playoff run, but most importantly to the citizens of Hidalgo County and the tremendous support that they have shown this year's team. I just hope that we were able to represent everyone of Hidalgo County in a classy and dignified manner, and it was a memorable experience. And again, commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning.
Yes, yes, sir.
Golden Globe.
Yeah, I tell you. If I had hair, I'd color it.
We need to all diet. We haven't eaten that.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations, guys. We have the honor of recognizing an employee of Hidalgo County who is moving on after 35 years of service, Ms. Irma Peña.
Good morning again. And Ms. Peña is here with her sisters, Idolina Davis, Elizabeth Flores, Emily Castaneda, her sister Sonia and her sister's husband Rudy Juarez, and friends Adelita Munoz and Cecilia Gutierrez, along with Head Start staff and personnel. Whereas Ms. Peña is being honored for exceptional work and dedication to the Hidalgo County Head Start program after serving with distinction and integrity for the past 35 years. She's a graduate of Edinburgh High School. Mrs. Peña went on to earn a bachelor's and master's degree in social work from the University of Texas Pan American and is an accredited licensed master social worker with the state of Texas. She's a lifelong resident of Edinburgh and was born to Rogelio and Lupita Salazar and is the youngest of 6 children. She's married to Jesus Tony Peña and they have one son, Felipe. And whereas after working as a volunteer in 1980, she officially began her Head Start career as an assistant teacher and worked her way up to Family Services Director, as well as briefly serving as interim Head Start Executive Director. And whereas as Family Services Director, Ms. Peña was responsible for the recruitment, eligibility, selection, and enrollment, she also oversaw social services, the volunteer program, parent engagement, and training for the Head Start Grantee Board and Policy Council. And whereas during her tenure, Ms. Peña was instrumental in pioneering and initiating the Parent Leadership Conference and Governance Leadership Institute, authoring the program's Family Partnership Agreement, which was later approved by the Regional Head Start Technical Support Center and utilized statewide. And whereas, after serving for more than 3 decades, Mrs. Peña is taking the next step in her career, having accepted a position as the Early Head Start Program Director for SER National, and will be relocating to Irving, Texas. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors Irma Peña for her outstanding service, dedication, and commitment during 35 years of service to the families of the Hidalgo County Head Start program, and on this day wishes her continued success in her endeavors.
So move.
Second. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Honorable Judge and distinguished members of the Commissioners Court, I'm here with a sense of deep humility and great pride humility in the wake of the lives of so many courageous Head Start children and families, recalling their remarkable stories of hardship, adversity, courage, and success, pride and reflection of having the privilege to have served some of the most vulnerable residents of our county. To be part of Head Start and the County of Hidalgo for 35 years represents, in its purest form, a joint effort of solidarity amongst the hundreds of Head Start employees that take great pride in working in the work itself and knowing that our labor signifies our deep sense of wanting to help our children rise to the highest plane toward fulfilling the American dream. I'm glad that my family and my dear friends were here to recognize me today, but I also want to tell you that God loves me so much that He blessed me with a wonderful husband, Tony, and our amazing son, Felipe. And today I'm remembering my darling mother, Lupita, who paved the path for this glorious journey of mine. When Judge Garcia informed me that he wanted to recognize me in this forum, I was a bit taken back and surprised, but I feel that in all modesty, that the recognition should be bestowed to all of the phenomenal people that I've had the privilege of working alongside with. Therefore, Honorable Judge Garcia and Commissioners Court, I accept this recognition on their behalf. And I will tell you that even though I'm leaving to Irving, Edinburgh and Hidalgo County will always be home. Thank you and God bless.
In behalf of the 900,000 plus individuals that live in Hidalgo County, especially in behalf of the individuals that have benefited from your involvement in the Head Start program, we want to thank you for the work you have done and want to wish you well in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
I've been advised that our Head Start director has an issue involving time, and we're going to be moving up her items. That'd be item number 17.
I too want to congratulate Ms. Peña on being recognized, but want to thank her for all the years that she has given to Head Start. She has made her mark, and we wish her well where she goes. Our first item is a discussion and approval of the program calendar for program year 2015 and 2016. This calendar was voted upon by the staff members, and it does indicate that we begin classes on August the 17th, and it does require your approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, discussion approval to disperse lump sum summer paychecks to staff who resign as of the last last working day of the position assigned, and this is to encourage staff to let us know ahead of time that they would be retiring, especially teachers and assistant teachers, so that we may fill the positions in a timely manner, and we ask for your approval. We have done this in the past.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C is a discussion and approval of the following program plans: child nutrition services, education services, family services, health and mental health services, human resources, special services, transition services, and transportation services. These are all the areas that Head Start provides services to our 3,690 children, and the planning process is a requirement as well as a way of gauging that we are meeting our objectives and our goals throughout the year, and it does require your
Move for approval of
participation.
17C, 1 through 8.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next item is item D, and that is a request to enter in a one-year interlocal agreement for the lease of 3 premises between the FAR San Juan Alamo Independent School District and Hidalgo County. These premises are Farias Elementary, Palacios Elementary, and Longoria Elementary. Next year, we will have 7 classrooms of Head Start in Farias Elementary, 9 in Palacios, and Longoria will have 5. This is a very productive, very outcome-based partnership having to do with school readiness, and we certainly thank PSJA for allowing us into their facilities and becoming a part of focusing on our children being school-ready when they reach kindergarten, and we recommend approval.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E, requesting exemption from competitive bidding under the Texas Local Government Code 262.024 for professional services to provide medical, dental, mental health services, and speech interpreting services for our children. And we have the presentation of the responses received for the purpose of Commissioners Court accepting the providers as qualified in order to proceed to the next phase of procurement process negotiating contracts. And the list of providers that submitted proposals and that met the criteria are listed. Medical and dental, we have Nuestra Clínica del Valle and Dr. Bose, Industrial and Family Medicine. Under mental health, we have Amanda Gonzalez, Anita Sandoval, Velma H. Smith, Maribel Corona, Valerie M. Aguero Olivares. For speech interpreting services, we have Amy Jane Hermanson, and we have Sign Language Interpreters, LLC. And so at this particular point, we ask for you to take the action for that.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The third part is approval for Head Start to negotiate contracts in a form approved by legal counsel for all professional services as required through the Hidalgo County Head Start Program RFQs for said services and as detailed above and attached here too. And all those contracts are there.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
F presents 36 memoranda of understanding having to do with discussion and consideration and approval to enter into this memoranda of understanding between Hidalgo County and the entities that are listed on a very long list that you have there. And the services are mostly for, well, there is no charge for any of these services. They're all services offered to us by different entities, including school districts, Region 1, other resources that are in the area that help us to provide services for our children. Many of them have to do with disabilities, children with disabilities, and the services that school districts provide for them. And the other ones have to do with training and so forth. Are there any questions about any of those listed in the list that you have received?
No, ma'am, not for me.
We ask that you approve those memorandum of understanding.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Let's see. I think let's see. I think that is the final item, and I certainly thank you for allowing me to go before my time.
Thank you, Ms. Flores.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, I apologize if we hurried a little bit too much, but Ms. Peña, I understand you want a picture with the family. Good morning.
Hi, Lolita.
Bye-bye. One more. You're welcome, lady. can't, I'm in traffic. Good luck. We have an elected official and an item, that's our constable, precinct number 4, item 9E.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning,
I'm
sir.
here, Judge, on 9E, A1-49807. This Constable Precinct 4, Operation Stone Garden 1284. Approval to appropriate the budget for the Constable's Office, Precinct 4, portion of the fiscal year 2014 Operation Stone Garden Grant, Phase 1, in the amount of $105,500.
Move for approval?
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we're going to move on to item number 7B, as in boy. We have a presentation by Texas Gas Services for requesting relief of the order abandoning a road in precinct number 4.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, actually we do have that presentation. I believe there's another party in the audience that will be presenting on this very same issue. And so what I'm asking the court, and I've actually informed both parties, that we want to limit this to 15-minute presentation each, with the discretion of the court if a little more time is needed.
Why don't we talk about what the issue is that they're asking us to decide? I know that some time back we entered an order abandoning a road in precinct 4, and we did it at the request of the proponents. And then now Texas Gas Services is coming in and saying that we should not have done that.
Right, there's an issue.
And they're going to be making a presentation as to the basis for their claim.
Correct.
How long ago was it abandoned?
This was in 2010? 12, I'm sorry, 2012. But roughly 3 years ago. So, I'm sorry.
Judge, if I may question, though, before we get started here, for clarification's sakes, we obviously dealt with this petition that was requested by the landowner.
Yes.
We've never dealt with Texas Gas Service whatsoever. Our duty as a elected body is to take care of, obviously, our taxpayer landowners in the area. It was a road that was dedicated to the county back in 1908 or 9, I believe. The county's never received the property, never received the right-of-way. We've never cut an open road. If you go out there, you look at it, it's a non-existing county road. We had no intent to open up. It's never been opened. In the last several years, we've never even looked at opening it. It actually runs straight into the landfill. So we were asked by the city of Edinburgh, I believe EDC, the landowner, was looking at abandoning a right-of-way. We did the proper process to go through a right-of-way department. All the processes were followed. So my question is, I'm actually wondering why it's on the agenda and why it's even up for discussion, but I'm willing to hear any petition that's on. I don't know what the county can do.
Well, I believe their basis, well, I don't know what exactly their basis is, but what they're claiming is we should not have entered that order. And we're providing them with a hearing so that they can try to convince us otherwise.
Okay.
And is this an action item?
Yes.
Well, I guess my
Well,
question
actually,
legal is what kind of action could the
It's not
county?
listed as such.
The way the item reads, it says presentation, but based on the beginning of the agenda, discussion possible action related to the following business. So theoretically, if you want to take action, you probably can, but I don't know what action you're taking.
That's my question.
And, Your Honor, if I may, we are the landowner. My name is Raul Medina. I'm president of MVP Properties. We're the ones who petitioned the county commissioners and this court to abandon an unopened
For the record,
roadway.
it's Mr. Medina, Raul Medina, and you're representing the owners and are one of the owners.
Correct.
Yeah, and duty, if it pleases the court, I would like if the owner would start with their presentation. Obviously, our duty is to our taxpayer first and foremost. If they can start with their presentation,
Well,
then
he
we can.
already won. I mean, we went ahead and entered an order abandoning the road. Now here we got the other side saying, you wait a minute, you shouldn't have done it, and this is why. And I'm not. And then Mr. Medina will be responding as to why he feels that those claims that are now being made are improper.
And Judge, if I may, this is not a situation of winning. This is a petition that us as landowners made to the county pursuant to statute, and we complied fully with the statute, and I will present all of that. And this court unanimously granted the abandonment of any interest it may have had, because there's been no evidence that the county ever accepted this dedication. Now, again, this dedication was from 1909, and it was for the town site of Allendale. It never came to fruition. In fact, that plat that has the city of Allendale, or the proposed town of Allendale, the town site, is actually the Edinburgh landfill today. So what we petitioned and what we asked the court pursuant to statute, and we followed all the advice of the county attorney, Mr. Stephen Crane, we complied with all the requirements. It was presented and it was granted. Again, this was granted back on January 24th of 2012. Now, in addition to that, and kind of to streamline this thing, Judge, this matter between Texas Gas, or One Gas, and MVP Properties is pending in the 139th District Court that has exclusive jurisdiction over this matter. Now, our position is that this governmental body does not have the ability to act on this matter, and we ask this court to deny any relief and allow us to proceed to our preferential jury trial that we have for June 22nd of this year, less than 3 weeks from now, and let the district judge decide the issues between us.
If I may just have one moment to discuss what's just been revealed. There is a lawsuit pending. There's a lawsuit pending between Texas Gas and the landowner.
Can you speak a little louder, please?
I'll be happy to. There is a lawsuit pending. That lawsuit is pending in the 139th, but it's presently today sitting in the Texas Supreme Court on a motion from Texas Gas. We are here today not to talk about the merits of that lawsuit. We're more than happy to have a jury in the 139th deal with those issues. What we're concerned about here is the order that this Commissioner's Court executed. And I'd like to go through my presentation and present to you what Texas Gas's view is on this and get some relief, if at all possible, from this body.
But is that issue before the court, before the 139?
It's what issue, Your Honor?
The issue of the abandoning of that road by us.
No, in fact, there was an order issued by the court, a temporary injunction order, that was based in part on this order. But just this past week, the district court set aside that order on the motion of MVP. So the validity of your order is not at issue. That's the reason we came to you, because we feel like this is your order. This is a decision that this Commissioner's Court made, and we would like the opportunity to show you some additional evidence that if we were provided no notice, even though we've had a pipeline under that property for 72 years, 60 years before they ever took ownership of the property. And we were given no notice. The Commissioner's Court abandoned the road, but under Texas law, as I'm going to show you, we have the right to have our pipeline there as long as there's a roadway. So it would have been a good idea, we think, for us to have been afforded notice.
If I may answer the
Yes,
question
sir.
to that, we've researched that
Yes,
quite
sir.
extensively.
Yes, sir.
No deed, nothing signifies or even identifies a pipeline in that roadway. We followed the proper process. We've done every research possible to validate whether or not there was supposed to be a gas line there. Now, compensable utilities has nothing to do with us abandoning a roadway whatsoever. So even if we went through the process, there was nobody to notify, because there was nothing on record that identified a gas line in that property.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
If I'm afforded the opportunity to show you my presentation,
absolutely,
I would like to address that issue. Yeah. Okay.
My issue is
Yes, sir.
action by the court. The reason we abandoned a roadway is, in fact, that it would service no landowner it would service no residential area, no dwelling, zero. It goes straight to a landfill. We had no intent to open a roadway.
Yeah.
I know the city of Edinburgh has annexed a good section of that area.
Yes, sir.
And they continue to annex that area.
And I want you to hear me. Texas Gas values its relationship with Hidalgo County. We're not for a moment suggesting that Hidalgo County did anything improperly. What we're saying is that you weren't afforded the facts, and had you been afforded all the facts, you might not have taken the action you did, and we'd like the opportunity to just present that to you.
Sure. Before you make the presentation, can
Yes,
you
sir.
tell us the relief that you're seeking?
Well, I believe that any order this panel signs has the ability, you have control over your own jurisdiction, your own orders. We're asking you to either vacate that order and let's have a do-over and let you
Well,
reconsider.
let me ask a legal question for
Yes,
at least
sir.
our legal counsel. Is it proper for us to do that even if we have already abandoned an easement? Not a road, we abandoned an easement or a dedicated easement or whatever in 2012. What right do we have to take that back from the landowner at least?
Well, first of all, I don't think you can take any of that action today because of the way it's on the agenda.
You need to talk to Mr. Guerra whenever he prepares it again so that we can have a broad enough agenda that we don't have to go through this, too many times.
Well,
But-
even if we did, can I ask the hypothetical?
Well, I would need more information before I can answer that hypothetical.
Why don't we listen to the presentation? We're not going to, and that way we can get that out of the way.
Judge, only if we agree to not have a presentation again when the correct agenda item is on the agenda, so that we don't have to go for 30 minutes again. Can we put this in our memory from the presentation and make a judgment call when the correct agenda item is on the agenda?
All right, my concern also will set precedents to other people who have similar situations in which they're in litigation and in court, which this is not a proper venue. Obviously, the jurisdiction is with the district court. I was actually asking if the court would not take action and listening until the proper jurisdiction renders its opinion, which supersedes any of our position whatsoever. That's really what my position is. It is in our precinct. It is something that was properly followed. Everything that needs to be done with this type of.
Commissioner, I voted for it. I voted to abandon that road. But what I'm hearing is that no notice was given to the other side, and they were not here to make any presentation.
Right, but again, Judge, I got to state the facts is that we're the ones that handled it with our right-of-way agent. There was no notice. There's no record of any gas line. We would have not known who to give notice to if, in fact, there was on the title or anything recorded. Nothing is recorded whatsoever, Judge. It's as if it doesn't exist there. And it's not been uncommon for us to have gas lines in places that they're not supposed to be. I mean, we're talking about something that was done in 1909.
09. And if I may, Judge, just for the court's information here, this is an abandoning order that we're addressing that was entered back in January of 2012 that abandons the county's interest. If they can show to the district court that they have an interest in that strip of land, that they have a right to be there, then this order, this abandoning order doesn't apply to Texas Gas pursuant to the utility code. Our position is that they've never had an easement or a right to be there. That's why the title memorandum that was required under the transportation code and the survey that was required prior to submitting it to the court doesn't show this pipeline. We were bona fide purchasers when we purchased this property to that gas line. We did not discover this gas line until 2011 that they were putting an above ground valve that gave us notice that there was a pipeline there, Judge. On two separate occasions in 2002 and 2010, we had surveys on this property, and at no time did this pipeline ever come out. We've had a total of 3 title memorandums, 2002, 2010, and the one that we presented to this commissioner's court, that there is absolutely no evidence that they have a legal right to be on that right-of-way and to be on MVP properties.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Was it ever registered with Dick Test? I mean, whenever anybody ever dug around that area, was Dick Test ever contacted?
You betcha. That pipeline's been in place 72 years. It gets walked 4 times a year. It's marked pursuant to Railroad Commission rules. I'm going to show you a picture of one of those markers. It is inconceivable that anyone could be on this property for 12 years as MVP, or one of its members, Mr. Pena, who had farmed the property since 1982, could not know about the pipeline. Again, if I'm allowed to give my presentation, I think you'll see where we're coming from. We're not here to talk about the merits of the lawsuit. We're talking about what you guys weren't told.
What I'm hearing from the members of the court is that, I mean, they're willing to go along and hear your presentation, but
yes, sir.
we may have to do this again, and do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it later?
I would prefer to do it now. I'm a little bit surprised because we have tried very hard. This is our fourth try to get this on the agenda for consideration. And so if we've not put it on the agenda appropriately, I apologize, but I'm mystified as to how we've missed it, because we've asked for relief from the order.
All right, sir.
If I may.
Go ahead and make your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, Judge Garcia and members of the Commissioners Court, I want to thank you on behalf of Texas Gas Services for giving us the opportunity to make this presentation. We're here to discuss, I think as we all know now, an order that was signed by you on January 24th, 2012. It related to an abandonment of a piece of property on the north side of Edinburgh. It was done with no notice to Texas Gas whatsoever, and it was done with no notice to this Commissioner's Court of the existence of our pipeline, an 8-inch distribution line that's been in place since 1943. I've got a presentation here, if you would. Texas Gas values its relationship with this Commissioner's Court and with Hidalgo County. Texas Gas and its predecessors have been the natural gas utility here in Hidalgo County and in the Rio Grande Valley for more than 75 years.
If it's that old, you must have had some cathodic protection on there or something.
You betcha. There's a cathodic protection location just across the highway. Sure is. And in fact, this is the court's order that's in place. This is the one that we're talking about. It was signed by Judge Garcia. And here's the issue that we have, the problem we have. It's the recital that the Commissioner's Court has determined it has no purpose or use for the road, that such road is unopened, and it is not currently in use. As I will show you, it was in use because Texas Gas's predecessor laid that 8-inch pipeline in that roadway easement in 1943. I asked Mr. Medina, MVP's principal, you intentionally didn't tell the county. You said I didn't tell them about the pipeline, right? He answered, no, I didn't tell them. Now let's talk about where this pipeline's located. It's in the northern part of Edinburgh on the north hand. I call that kind of a panhandle up on the north side. And I'm going to quickly scroll through so you can see it. And the property is actually that brown area with the green line running through it. It's both sides of the green line. And as we scroll down, you'll see that there's a little jigsaw puzzle piece on the left-hand side. That's the location of not one, but 2 large valve assemblies. And as we scroll down further, you can actually see in this picture, if you look closely, pipelines have a tendency to sink. And that's a ditch line that you can actually see across and through the tree line where the pipeline runs. And in this picture, you can see the 2 valve assemblies. I've called them Volkswagen size, but if you look at the one on the left, and if you look at the one on the left there and the one on the right, and then look at the 18-wheeler going down the feeder road, you can see that they're quite large. Those assemblies have been in place since 2009.
Get closer to that mic, please.
Yes, sir, I will. I apologize. Here is the dedication. The dedication was made in 1909 by the Citrus Fruit Development Company. The dedication included a reservation for erecting pipelines, poles, and lines of wire for the distribution sale of water, heat, light, and power. And that's a picture of the plat. That's the way they did it by hand in 1909. And there's the reservation. And so I've blown it up so you can see an area that we're talking about in here is actually now in the very end of what was the Allendale Township. And the horizontal line there is the roadway easement and the location of the 8-inch distribution line. And I colored that in blue for you to see. The dedication also included a utility dedication, an easement for utilities, the right to occupy and use for the purpose of erecting pipelines, poles, and lines of wire for the distribution of sale of water, heat, light, and power, and telephone and telegraph lines. So in other words, both above the roadway easement and below the roadway easements, pipelines and aerially, there was a dedication. In 1943, the landowners of this property, the Ganaways, wanted to tap into the pipeline, and they were granted an express easement over a portion of the property to construct, maintain, and operate the pipelines. And there is the express easement that runs over the eastern portion of MVP's property. So not only do we have a dedication dating from 1909, we also have an express easement over a portion of the property. And finally, we have a franchise agreement with the city of Edinburgh. It dates back to 1926. We found this in the 1952 franchise, and it talks about an ordinance repealing Section 7 dating back to October 1926. So since 1926, Texas Gas or its predecessors have had the franchise to distribute natural gas. In 1955, that franchise agreement was renewed, and it states that the utility has the right to further acquire, lay, use, maintain, and operate through, upon, under, and along the streets, avenues, alleys, lanes, across any streams and public places, and it has the right to do so for distributing, supplying, and selling natural gas. So not only do we have a dedication, but we also have an express easement over a portion of the property, and under the franchise agreements that were renewed as late as 2002 with the city of Edinburgh, we have the right to be in any public place. Public place would include the roadway easement dedicated to the, in the 1909 dedication. Here's the relevant statutes. And Texas Utilities Code says that a gas corporation has the right to lay and maintain lines over, along, under, and across a public road or a municipal street or alley. And supposedly, even if those easements get exchanged, sold, or somehow terminated, the rights of the utility continue. But how could you say you didn't know there was a pipeline there? Here is the feeder road of 281, 69C. And you can see that there is one of the regulator valves is there. And it just so happens that the day we were there, that's the view down the highway, you can see that there's a yellow sign. That yellow sign says, warning, natural gas pipeline. Under the Railroad Commission rules, every time you walk up to one of those, you must be able to look and see the next one on the pipeline. And this pipeline has been so marked for as long as anyone in the company can remember. So you cannot go out on this property and not know that there's a pipeline here. On this particular day, when I went out to take my picture, you can see that Texas Gas had employees working on the other valve assembly, actually on the premises working. If you look across the highway across the field to the tree line, unfortunately my camera on my iPhone doesn't take a very good picture, but right in the center of that picture where it breaks, right there is another sign. So there's at least two signs that you can see from the highway. My picture doesn't show it, but you can see it with the naked eye pretty well. A yellow sign that says natural gas pipeline. So this is MVP's history on the property. In '82, Mr. Pena began farming it. In 2002, after a 6-year lawsuit, Mr. Pena prevailed and got ownership of the property. He was represented by Mr. Villalobos and Mr. Medina, the two lawyers who now own MVP Development. They took title in 2002, and in 2010, they sold it to themselves. MVP Development, Inc. transferred it to MVP Properties, LLC. Both warranty deeds to MVP reflect that there is a right-of-way in favor of Rio Grande Valley Gas Company, as shown in the deed records. So they had noticed that there was a pipeline right-of-way on the property, even if they had never walked out there. They were on notice to look. But here's the deal, and this is, Commissioner Palacios, this is the point I wanted to address to you. Okay. I know you guys did it. You got everything that was required under Section 251 of the Transportation Code, and this is the survey. Now, I've shown you, if you go out there and look, you can't help but see a sign that says natural gas pipeline. But this survey doesn't reflect the existence of the pipeline at all. In fact, if you look at the legend, there's a legend that says V, gas valve at the bottom. And the only thing that would lead anyone to know that there was a pipeline here is right there. I circled it in yellow. And if I blow this up, you see the V, it's got one of the lines of the easement running through it to obliterate it. So the county didn't know that there was a gas pipeline there, but Texas Gas has had that pipeline there for 72 years. I asked Mr. Medina on behalf of MVP if this was the survey that he provided, and he said it was. He said you have to do a title memorandum, and you have to know, you have to do the survey. Well, He provided a survey that didn't reflect the pipeline, and as I've explained to you previously, anybody who looked at the plat would know that there was a dedication there for not only the roadway, but also for utilities. So when you say that we didn't have a right to be there, we absolutely did, and that we had a right. Due process requires that we have notice that our rights are going to be affected. And I asked him, so somewhere around late 2011, early 2012, you made a request to the county that they abandon it. And he said, I made the request for the county to abandon it after I learned Texas Gas Services had a pipeline through the property. So he knew it when he made the request to y'all. He knew it when he came down and made the presentation, but no one told Texas Gas. And again, I asked him, you didn't tell the county? And he said, no, I didn't tell them. I asked him in so many words, why not? He says, why not? I'm a businessman. Let's talk about what happens here. If we're required to relocate this pipeline, it will take months. It is a high-pressure distribution line that serves North Hidalgo County. I've listed some of the customers who would be affected. They include about 3,000 customers in communities in North Hidalgo County: Alton, Palmhurst, North Mission, North Edinburgh, and North McAllen. Now, if we have a cold winter, while we're in the process of doing this, Texas Gas cannot guarantee uninterrupted service to these communities. There are businesses out there: Holt Caterpillar, J&D Produce, Santana Textiles, Edinburgh Refined Products. And there are 3 jails, including the Hidalgo County Jail. So let's talk about what the real beef is about. To relocate this pipeline will cost about $700,000 to $950,000. It's on miles, $750,000 to $900,000 around the edge of the property. It is true that after Texas Gas informed Mr. Medina that we thought we had a right to be there, he came and got the relief from this Commissioner's Court, the order that we're talking about today. He then contacted the local Harlingen office of Texas Gas and talked to a field engineer. And he got the field engineer to agree that to do one of 2 things. Either Texas Gas would buy their piece so that Johnson's not here making this presentation today, so we're not in a lawsuit in the 139th. We'll pay you some money for an express easement, or we can reroute it. And that was the deal. We would reroute it, but we could never pay for it. The cost of this would have to be borne by the ratepayers. And Texas Gas cannot relocate pipelines every time a landowner wants their pipeline relocated and pass that cost on to the consumers, the customers in Hidalgo County. So who does this affect? It affects everybody that I've listed there, but it ultimately affects all of Texas Gas customers in Hidalgo County. And because the Hidalgo County Jail, over which this body has control, is affected, it means that it affects every taxpayer in Hidalgo County if we have to incur this expense. So what we want, what we've asked, is that the commissioners simply vacate the prior order. If there's a fight over whether it's valid or not, let's have that fight, but vacate it, because you weren't given all the information. I'm not here to talk about the merits of the lawsuit. I'm here to talk about this order and whether or not, if you had known all the details, you would have ever agreed to do what was asked of you. That, or modify the order and intervene in the lawsuit. It's very simple. Texas Gas values the relationship with Hidalgo County. It feels like if it had been given notice and given a fair hearing, the county commissioners probably wouldn't have taken the relief that was requested. We're in a situation now where we are either going to we're going to incur expense legally, we're going to incur expense potentially relocating this pipeline. At the end of the day, we're going to incur expense, and ultimately it falls back. It comes back to the customers. It comes back to the citizens. So we're asking for whatever relief the Commissioner's Court can give. Now, I was under the impression that we had teed this up in such a fashion that you could rule today, and I hear from counsel for the commissioners that that's not the case. We will do whatever it takes to get this in front of you in a proper proposition as necessary for you to consider this. So on behalf of Texas Gas, I want to thank you so much for your time. I genuinely appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Good morning. And once again, the elephant in the room here is that they've been trespassers for over 73 years.
Can you get close to that mic? I'm sorry, Ro.
Absolutely, Judge. The evidence is that for the last 73 years, Texas Gas Service, or One Gas, has been a trespasser on this property all along. The elephant in the room.
How do we know when they first dug that pipeline, that ditch, and put that line in there, nobody got paid?
How do we know?
Yes.
There's no evidence in the...
No, but I'm pretty sure the landowner back then would have said, no. You can't, you can't dig a ditch in my property and bury a pipeline.
Okay. Let me kind of backtrack so I can give you the factual basis on it. Incidentally, everything that he spoke of has already been presented at an evidentiary hearing in the 139th District Court, and we've already had a finding that they have no legal right to be there, that they have no easement or legal right to be there. So all of this has been exhausted. This is nothing new to us.
Raul, can you state how the court determined that, if in fact he showed areas in prior dedications that they in fact had the authority to be there?
Right. Well, look, a dedication, and Commissioner Cantu probably knows this area of the law very well since he's been a real estate lawyer for quite a while. A dedication is simply a dedication to a public entity. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to backdoor that dedication was to them a private company or their predecessors, but that's not the way it works. A dedication has to be accepted by law or by action. You ran the road there, you did some construction, some improvement, then by law that says that you have accepted it. Texas Gas and their predecessors have never ever had permission to be there. Now, this 40-acre express easement, that's not at issue here. That's not at issue at all. The abandoning order has a different strip of land. Now, they do have an express easement on the corner 40 acres, okay? And that's not at issue. We stipulated that at the evidentiary hearing. What's at issue is this 30-foot strip of land that's 1,900 square feet. Now, they say, well, we had an easement there and oops, se nos pasó, and we ran another 1,900 feet. But they have never ever had a legal right to be there. Now, let me just go ahead and dive into the presentation unless somebody else has another question.
That's where they got their water from. Go for it. Oh, this is totally different. Go ahead, Ro. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ro.
I'm listening.
Okay. This matter, the 139th District Court has exclusive jurisdiction over MVP properties versus One Gas, and we have a preferential jury trial set for less than 3 weeks, which is June 22nd, 2015. MVP Properties is an Hidalgo, it's a Texas corporation based out of Hidalgo, and its members are all Hidalgo County residents. One Gas is the actual company that owns this pipeline. They're a foreign corporation out of Oklahoma, and they do business as Texas Gas Service by selling gas to Hidalgo County residents and businesses for a profit. Now, neither Hidalgo County nor MVP Properties owe a duty to a trespasser, including One Gas, Inc. And this is all straight out of the Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code. That's the way the law is designed in Texas. Trespassers, we owe no duty to a trespassers other to refrain from injuring them or willfully and wantonly or through gross negligence. That's the only duty Texas law imposes on a landowner over a trespasser. The abandonment request made by MVP complied with all the statutes. Here's the letter dated December 14th to Commissioner Joseph Palacios. Obviously, this tract of land is in Precinct 4. We made the request pursuant to the local government code 263. We met all the elements, that this was a 30-foot county right-of-way dedicated back in 1909. I provided the proof of the dedication and the plat. We met all the elements. We advised the commissioner that there has never been a road there. that it has never been opened, and even if you open the road, it would go tee into the landfill. And additionally, Encinitos Road is like 2 blocks away that leads into the landfill on the north side. I also advised the commissioner that we had also dedicated a public utility, MVP Properties dedicated a public utility to the city of Edinburgh so they could run their sewer and water lines on the south side of the property. In response to that, we complied with Texas Transportation Code 251 requirements and obtaining a title report and a survey of the right-of-way at the suggestion of Hidalgo County Attorney Stephen Crane. Here's an email dated December 21st, 2011 from Benito from the right-of-way department, where they respond to my request and says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Medina. Mr. Crane reviewed the paperwork submitted for the above mentioned. He did not have a problem with the request. However, he recommended to use the Transportation Code, Chapter 251. It requires a title report and a survey of the area to be abandoned." We complied with that. Now, the whole purpose of a title report is to see what's of record, what other interests may be in this 30-foot right-of-way. Now, opposing counsel jumps into, well, we already have an express easement over there. It's not relevant to this strip of land. That's a separate piece of property. MVP Properties is a 170-acre tract that's on the expressway. This pipeline, after we purchased, we discovered this pipeline ran straight through the middle, splitting this 175-acre tract. Now, all surveys that have been performed prior never showed this gas line. So for all intents and purposes, we are bona fide purchasers without notice of this pipeline. After we met all the requirements at the suggestion of the county attorney, this court unanimously abandoned its interest in this unopened roadway. Because we got to make the distinction here. If they have any legal right to be there, this county does not have the jurisdiction to vacate their interest. All this county is doing with this abandoning order is abandoning your interest. That's it. If they can prove to the district court that they have a legal interest, this abandoning order is not going to affect you. Now, One Gas went back on their word to MVP Properties, and I'm going to play a recording from Rene Cázares, their supervising engineer, to a message he left me on my voicemail back in June 11th, 2014. Now, this is after we've been going back and forth for about 3 years. We discovered these valves. That's how we knew back in 2011. We went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We believed we had an agreement to resolve this matter on June 11th, 2014, and listen to what their supervising engineer leaves a message to me as president of MVP Properties.
Mr. Medina, how you doing? This is Rene Cázares from Texas Gas Service. Hey, I finally got approval with my director to send you the 2 options that we have for the line up there on your property just east of US 281 in North Edinburgh. So if you can send me an email address, I can email you both 11x17 sheets. They kind of explain the proposed adjustments we're going to do. Call me back whenever you get a chance. That way I can sort of discuss them with you, and I'll shoot you an email. If you need any kind of formal correspondence from us, just let us know. That way we can see what we can do about adjusting these pipelines. All right? Thank you, sir.
He makes the offer. He follows it up with this email. And this email mentions both of the options that he's offering us to resolve this matter, this whole issue of their trespassing gas line. And he gives option 1, basically they buy an easement, and it's there in writing. And I'm not going to take this commissioner's court to read it because you have it in your packet. There's option 1, which is they just buy an easement and leave the line where it is, or option 2, where they reroute the line. And I'm going to go ahead and read option 2 because I think this is very, very important. Option 2 is to reroute the existing pipeline around the southern half of the property. This is approximately a mile of relocation and would still require an easement to install the new pipeline. A long relocation like this would be very costly for TGS, Texas Gas Service, and require several months of survey, design, material requisition, construction, and testing. This would need to be planned for and budgeted project for 2015. Under oath at our evidentiary hearing that we had back in January of this year, January 8th of this year, under cross-examination when I had the supervising engineer Rene Cáceres under oath, I'm showing them this email where they had already agreed to move the line, and I asked them, at the end of the day, by the time you sent plaintiff's Exhibit 4 being the email with the options, which is in evidence, you were authorized to extend these two options to resolve the issue with the easement. Isn't that true, sir? Answer, yes. I followed that up with, okay, and obviously, and then after I got this document, I conveyed to you orally that we chose option 2. Is that correct? Answer, yes. Now, they went back on their word, and MVP Properties had to assert their rights as landowners, and we had to file a lawsuit on a trespass to try title case. That's why district court has exclusive jurisdiction, because it's a matter to trespass to try title. Now, we had an evidentiary hearing before Judge Bobby Flores on January 8th, 2015. One Gas, or Texas Gas Service, however you want to call them, with their very, very competent counsel, Mr. Millard Johnson, who in fact, in his firm's website, boasts about being a super lawyer, which he concludes makes him the top 5% of all lawyers in Texas. And if that weren't enough at that hearing, they also had local counsel Michael Rodriguez from Atlas and Hall. We presented all the evidence to Judge Bobby Flores. We all had the right, and we cross-examined our witness. We put on our evidence. And after the judge heard all the legal arguments, all the factual evidence, this is what Judge Bobby Flores concluded. He granted our order granting temporary injunction. The court held that defendant holds no easement of record or consent for its gas pipeline on plaintiff's property. We have a judiciary finding that they're trespassers. They have nothing of record to indicate that they have a legal right to be there. Now, dissatisfied with Judge Flores' ruling, with all their resources, what do? They file a writ of mandamus and a motion to stay to try to delay the trial that's coming up. What does the Court of Appeals do? In their opinion, they deny their writ of mandamus. Denied. Now, as I stand here today, in another effort for them to try to stay this preferential jury trial setting, they have now filed an emergency stay and a writ of mandamus to the Texas Supreme Court, and we have responded to that. In an effort to moot the issues that they're complaining of that have no merit and cannot reach the level of mandamus, we asked the court to vacate the order to allow this case to just proceed to jury trial. Judge Bobby Flores granted our relief and said, look, you guys start all over. We'll just go again at the jury trial setting of June 22nd. Now, delay in this matter is only harming MVP Properties and the citizens of Hidalgo County, because they are keeping us from developing this property because we have this issue of this 8-inch trespassing gas line. Now, in the interim, Texas Gas Service continues to run gas in their 8-inch pipe, making money. Miller Johnson continues to build Texas Gas and make money. The only injured people here are MVP Properties and the citizens of Hidalgo County, because they are not allowing us to develop and follow through our plans to do a heavy industrial park, which can benefit the entire Hidalgo County community. And with that, Judge, Commissioners, I ask that you deny any relief, that this court does not have jurisdiction to go back on a 3.5-year-old order and allow this case to proceed to a Hidalgo County jury to decide the issues of fact and the court to make all the legal determinations. Thank you.
What you're saying is,
if you all have any follow-up questions, I'll be more than happy
whatever
to.
we decide, it really won't affect whatever ruling that jury makes, that verdict that they come back with,
No.
and the judgment entered by the court.
Judge, my legal research concludes that the Commissioner's Court has no authority to vacate.
Well, but there was a reason why you came to us some time back.
Right.
And
the
only
reason
concern that I have is that we were not given the information that there was a pipeline already in existence that had been there for quite some time. And I know you're litigating this.
Right.
But what about the people that are relying on that gas that's being sold to them by this company?
Judge,
3 of them are prisons or jails, and
And as part of the agreement, I had agreed to give them the time frame that they needed to move. I had agreed to allow back in 13, allowed them till the, or 14, allowed them to the following year to move their gas line. In fact, at a mediation, I went ahead and offered them, look, we'll give you an easement around the property. We're not here to interrupt service to anybody. We'll give you an easement, take your time, route it, but we can plan and move forward with our development plans, knowing that that gas line's going to move. Now, as to the issue, this court is asking me of why we didn't tell them. The law clearly states that we owe no duty to a trespasser. The Transportation Code does not require us to report trespassers. And again, Judge, all this abandoning order did was abandon the county's interest in this property. That's all it is. And if any, because our position is the county never actually accepted it, but for purposes of developing, and Commissioner Cantu can tell you this, you need to cleanse the title, because when you try to get financing for very large projects like this, they don't want to know that there's a right-of-way in the middle that's not there. They want the title cleaned. And that was the purpose of us filing this thing to abandon. Now, if they can prove to Judge Bobby Flores that they have a legal interest, this abandoning order doesn't affect them. So I ask this court to deny their request for relief and allow this case to proceed to trial.
I've got a question for you. He's calling them trespassers. After 100 years, they found out they were there illegally.
Commissioner, that's the case. I think that's an issue for the trial court.
Has to be what?
That's an issue for the trial court.
And the trial court,
it took them 100 years to figure it out.
Well, the trial court's concluding that they are trespassers. That's what they concluded in trial.
That's correct.
And that's what the Court of
And in
Appeals-
addition to that, I didn't interrupt you, sir. And in addition to that, Bobby Flores, and it's in the order, and it's attached in the packet there, Judge, he also found that they didn't have an easement by prescription. And that's what he's referring to. Those are issues that the district court decides, because they're acting like this 8-inch gas line is above ground. It's not. It's buried underground. We didn't discover it until the valves that he showed you pictures of it in 2011. That's how we discovered that there was a pipeline there. No surveys or title searches in 3 separate occasions ever came up with this gas line. And at the end of the day, as Commissioner Cantu knows, an easement is required by law to be in writing and to be filed pursuant to the recording statute. That's why we have the statute of frauds, Judge, where interest in real estate has to be in writing. If not, the courts are going to get clogged with, well, I had it here and I had it there, and this dedication gives it to me. We're going to clog up the courts. That's the whole purpose of the statute of frauds and the recording statute, to give other purchasers notice of your interest in that property. And 3 different searches never showed any interest on their part.
I think the most important point, Judge, is the fact that if you have a road can be abandoned. We're not, I guess, talking towards the easement that they may or may not have. We're talking about the road, and a road that this landowner owns on both sides. And in that case, you can abandon a road. I mean, who's to say that we as a county need to continue maintaining a road for the sole purpose of a gas line that has nothing to do with the road?
Well, and if I may, remember, we're talking about an unopened road, a road that has never existed.
Never existed.
A road that has never existed in the history of, since 1909. In 1940.
Can you imagine having a road for the sole purpose to have an easement for a gas line? What does that have to do with the road?
Well, the issue that I keep coming back to is, even if that company's a trespasser, no notice was given to us. If they knew that the line was there, now they did not know that the pipeline was there, I can understand not giving us any notice, but if they knew it and then they tell us that there is none.
Right. But Judge, even if we had notice, so you want to continue to maintain a road that is not being used for any purpose, right? It runs into the what do you call it? The dump, right? And so you want to continue to maintain a road.
I'm not saying we ought to continue it.
It was never. Then why can't we abandon the road itself?
It was never maintained, for the record. We've never in the history of this easement have ever maintained, have ever laid a piece of caliche, have never sent a work for, nothing. Nothing has ever been done. We've never really formally accepted it, to be honest with you. I've researched it, we've looked at it. There's no record of Hidalgo County ever receiving that easement, never opening in a road whatsoever. In 1943, when they laid the pipe down, as they say they did, there's not a petition to Hidalgo County that a pipeline was going to be laid on that dedicated easement.
Who was the property owner back then?
I have no idea, but Texas Gas Service wasn't the property owner.
The Ganoways.
Yeah.
They're still alive?
Not the original Ganoways.
Okay, is the farmers aware of the pipeline being there? Were they even staying away from it when they were farming?
There was no elevated pipeline.
Commissioner.
It doesn't matter if it's elevated or not, but usually when there's a buried pipeline, you stay off the easement.
But Commissioner, this is all farmland. There was nothing to give us notice that there was a gas line.
I know there was nothing to give us notice. I mean, people make mistakes. But I mean, in my properties, I see senderos, and I see, and without even not even knowing there's pipelines there, I can tell that somebody dug a pipeline because I can see caliche, or even on the side of the road.
I'll answer your question. No, because if you look at the farmland now, it's all farmed.
It's all farmed?
It's all farmed.
So y'all never cleared it at all? Never cleared the right-of-way?
The right-of-way has a break in it that's been cleared.
Can you get on that microphone, please, sir? I'm having a difficult time hearing.
First of all, there's a tree line in the middle of this property which has been kept clear because you have to be able to go through it, and there's signage there. And I showed you a picture of that.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. It's
Yes.
at the immediate, right near the frontage road of 281. Further down, there is no, it's farmed 100%, is that correct?
No, it's farmed to about halfway across the property. And then there's a tree line, and the tree line has a gap in it with a sign in it. And my picture wasn't very good, but the picture would have reflected another sign. The pipeline's always been properly marked, is the point. Now, if I may, the findings that we were a trespasser and that we did all these horrible things was set aside by Judge Flores last week. So there are no findings that we're a trespasser presently. There are no findings that we've done anything wrong. It was set aside last week.
Right, but our issue has to do with the roadway. It has nothing to do with your pipeline.
Precisely.
Whatsoever. And so if I can answer this question, we have no interest to preserve, at least me as a commissioner of the area, has no interest to preserve that easement because we have no intent to build a road to nowhere. Whether it's not going to service a subdivision, It's not going to service a landowner taxpayer. It's
Yes.
not going to service anybody. We have, our funds are very limited. We want to focus those funds to go on existing right-of-ways that we have. We have no intent. So for the court to enter into something to abandon it when we have no intent to build a road there, why would we reverse it?
Well,
If it has nothing to do with your pipeline, why would you ask us to abandon our easement for your purpose? I mean, we have no intent to build a road there.
Yeah. I want to address two issues here. One, you talked about maintaining the road. There is nothing to maintain. As you're correct, the county never took over and built a road there. But there's always, dating back to 1909, when council says there's nothing of record, there sure is. The 1909 plat dedicates that property for public use. And that's the reason he came here, was to get relief from that dedication of public use. Now, under the law, as a natural gas pipeline company, we have the right to maintain a pipeline in a public place, which means as long as you don't abandon it, our pipeline can continue to serve all the people in North Hidalgo County.
Which we have no problem to that whatsoever.
And
that's why it's in the proper jurisdiction at this point. So Mike, just to fast track this.
Yes.
Steve, can we legally go back and reverse an order we gave, abandoning the road, our road interest, after we already abandoned it and given it back to the landowner?
Commissioner, I need to look at some law before I can answer that
We're
question.
going to give you a time because we're not going to be able to act on it today. Why don't you do that for us?
Okay.
Now, I will state for the record, we have no interest in preserving that road right away because we have no intent to build a road down that issue. So my petition to the court is, we have no intent whatsoever to build. So why would we preserve something that we have no intent to build? And which has nothing to do with your gas line. I feel comfortable that the district court will render its proper judgment, and that whatever's going to happen, and I think that the court should be respectful to the district court and figure out whatever findings they have, then at that point, you know, that's the judge and jury. I mean, I mean, it's hard for us to make that.
Please keep in mind that because Texas Gas was not afforded the opportunity to be heard, and hence the order may not have been issued, that order became front and center and used to bootstrap the decision of the district court. And we're going to face that order again in trial. And the fact is it was done with no notice. Texas Gas was not afforded due process in this forum to raise our positions and our concerns, because I believe this panel, if you had heard the full facts, if you'd been disclosed that there was a pipeline there, you would have simply left it in place.
Well, we deal with compensable utilities all the time. We're building new roads, and we run into these issues day in, day night.
Sure.
The courts are the ones that determine everything. We don't. We're only concerned about the existing roadway, what's on surface, never the compensable utilities. That's between the landowner and utility service.
Valde, when can we do this again?
The question I've got is, have anybody ever issued permits to do any crossings there for anything?
I'm sorry, did anybody?
I mean, has anybody ever done any crossings, small pipeline crossings on that area?
The pipeline is checked quarterly. There are people on it. If you look at the picture.
No, I understand. You told me it's got cathodic protection on and everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it registered with the DIC test?
Yes.
So if it's with DIC test, why wouldn't the county have it?
Yeah.
We don't.
I mean, DIC test.
I can go ahead and answer that for you, Commissioner. The law requires that any interest in real estate, whether you have the right to use a property to go on it as a roadway, is an interest in land that has to be in writing and filed in the deed of records to give bona fide purchasers notice that they have an interest in that land. That's why when somebody goes and buys a property, they know what they're buying. That's the whole purpose of the recording statute, the statute of frauds. Now, one last matter I want to address, Judge, is I keep hearing that we have a duty to notify them, that we have a duty to notify. The law doesn't, and that's why purposely, right from the very beginning, I showed the court, the Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code, section 75007B, that clearly states by law I have no duty, the county has no duty to a trespasser. They're trying, as trespassers, to get all these due process notice that they're not entitled to by law. They're trespassers, Judge. I mean, that we've already had findings. That's why we're wanting to go to trial and get this matter resolved so we can move forward with our plans on our property that we purchased.
Okay, well, we're going to take this matter up again in 2 weeks. At that time, we intend to just limit, if at all, have any kind of discussion or very limited discussion, and then just act on it and vote on it one way or the other.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both, gentlemen.
Judge,
Okay.
if it pleases the court, can we move to open forum? I know we got residents here. I know that they've been waiting for the open forum to commence at some point.
All right, sir. The first presenter under open forum is Flor Martinez. She's not here. Next presenter is Fern McClarity.
After taking an hour, I do hope that you saw that the people had to get up and leave and go to work. Majority of the people in here are getting paid, and all the people had to leave.
Occupied in this morning, and we've had a long.
Well, we understand that, but when people, you always say when people can't come, the public, the reason why is they can't afford it. Commissioners, we, the people, are here today to, again, to express our opposition to the creation of a health care district that will operate as a hospital district. When I read that the bill created by Representative Bobby Guerra, I was confused. If it is really a hospital district, why not just call it a hospital district? Then it came to me, if it is a hospital district, then it would benefit hospitals. But if it's called a health care district, people will think it's for the people. The only problem is that this is the same bill we voted down last year. The only difference is that they have changed the name. There is no such thing as a health care district in Texas Constitution, so they'll have to change it back to the hospital district. This is the perfect example of what happens when politicians try to use the system to force people to buy a hospital district that is really a tax increase. Commissioners go to Austin and Washington to tell them that the people in the Rio Grande Valley are the poorest in the nation, and then you come home and create projects that increase taxes on the people that you say that are overtaxed. This hospital bill will allow private hospitals to control all health care services in the county, and they will do this by using the money you have forced the people to pay. When it is fully implemented, this bill will cost more money than it takes to run this county. And because its board members will be appointed, they are not responsible to the people that pay the taxes. According to the bill, it also will take place, this item on the ballot is signatures of 50 registered voters. The member of McAllen, Hidalgo County Tea Party and the Owls have created an online petition that contains over 850 signatures on opposed to the bill, plus their opinions. That's what we just handed you. 50 people for the bill, over 856 against. Which would you choose? Now, will you vote to place this item on the ballot so that the poor people of Hidalgo County will have an opportunity to vote on more property tax increases? And also the paper on the front, Mayor Beto Salinas asked me to hand them out to each of you. It's your candidate office holder campaign finance report. And he said, please check it and see if the form is correct, and if not, then you might want to contact the Texas Ethics Commission and the Elections Office to see if there's any problems there. Also, KURV Radio 710 had a poll, and on the health care, it asked if the people wanted a health care district for Hidalgo County and Cameron County. 87% said no, 13% said yes. And today we had a nurse practitioner that stayed as long as she could. She told her patients that she would be in the office by 11 and told them why. and y'all took so long on a lawsuit that you can't do any action today, over an hour, and they had to leave. So I do hope that you understand the people were here and hope that you heard and listened to what they're saying. No to a health care district. Thank you.
Next presenter is Cindy Hendrick. Hendrick.
Hi, my name is Cindy Kendrick. This is my granddaughter, Alyssa. We had, on a lighter note, we're going to lighten this up a little bit. It's been kind of, right, guys? I just wanted to come here to thank a particular person. I want to thank Joseph Palacios immensely, because we were caught in the flooding situation on Highway 281 in a couple different ways. Our car, I was taking the girls to school, and we got flooded on the frontage road. It demolished our car, flooded into the seats, totally gutted the whole thing. Thanks to Fern McClarety's son, my son-in-law, Charlie McClarety, he took it home. When 911 did not respond, the 911 lady, Laura, told me, I called her, she said, oh, the fire department's there. I thought, God, they must be invisible. I called Chief Snyder from the fire department. He said, no, ma'am, we are not there. We are in McAllen. So it was pretty scary to call 911 and have them not respond. But I got to call Fern's son, Charlie, and he came with a tow truck and towed us out. The girls were up to here in water. The van was swamped. It's ruined, but he put it back together. No pictures. It's okay. I sent Mr. Palacio all the pictures. But Mr. Palacio got the brunt of my anger, and I want to come here to apologize to him. I did it privately, but I want to do it publicly because he is very patient and very kind and took the time out to come visit me at my own home with his wife to drudge through the sewage water that was in my road. Sorry, getting back spasm here. Oh, gosh. Okay. And he and his wife were, were very gracious and apologized for the situation. And that was on a Sunday. And I thought, okay, he'll probably have it done Monday. And when he didn't show up on Monday, oh boy, my Italian temper got irate. I mean, y'all think Hispanic tempers are bad? No, Italian tempers are 10 times worse. And so I went to his office and gave him a nasty letter, of which he came back to my house and said, you know what, I'm working on this. And he texted me pictures of the meetings. Well, I thought he was a boss. I thought he could just send anybody out there and they'd fix my road. But that's not the case, as you all know, but I don't know. So he kept me very well informed, and I harassed this poor man. I emailed him at 6 in the morning. I texted him at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, I am merciless. I'm a teacher for 30 years from Minnesota, Uvalde, and Edinburgh. And we are merciless people. I mean, we just want to get the job done. We want to be the boss. And I just wanted to come to compliment this person of his generosity, his kindness, and his diplomacy in dealing with this Wicked Witch of the West. Okay? But the problem was I couldn't get any satisfaction. I went to TxDOT. They removed our drains, which screwed up the whole deal. We've lived there for 14 years and never had a problem with drainage on our road. And as Mr. Palacio knows, he had to drive his car through there. We could barely get through there. And he noticed the road was washing out and everything. TxDOT says, we can't help you. City of Edinburgh says, we can't help you. You're a private road. You know, but you know what? 25 years ago, we became a private road. Poor Mr. Cavazos, 25 years ago, conned the City of Edinburgh into paving a road, into an easement. But the situation is, we are an easement. We are not belong to the county. We don't belong to the city. We're like shelter dogs. We belong to nobody. So we can't get any help from the county, even though we do pay county taxes. That's not quite fair. And we want to work on that. And I hope Mr. Palacio and I talked about it, and I am going to get some help. And it was so stinky. It was sewage water. I don't know if it came from Fayetteville or whatever, but it stunk, I mean, horrendously. And these poor kids next door were walking through it. I was afraid they were going to get diseased because their car didn't work. It got flooded. So we're going to work on, you know, trying to get that to be a county road because we pay county taxes. And let's see, I even called CDC, Center for Disease Control, because I've had dealings with them for this disease in Uvalde that we had, anthrax. And they were going to come out Wednesday afternoon. They were going to fly 3 people down to help us out with that road because it was a sewage plant.
Your time is up, Ms.
Oh,
Hendrick.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Compliments to him. My compliments and apologies, public apologies. We have a little gift for you. Go give it.
Next presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. I am here again this morning because in Hidalgo County I have been held under police-enforced false imprisonment for 18 years. False imprisonment is a crime. I have filed complaints with law enforcement agencies for 18 years. My complaints are ignored. Lawsuit actions conducted in the county courthouse are supposed to be transparent, comply with law, settled, and closed. In divorce cases, the court has no ownership in the community property and no legal authority to assume any position of ownership. The court cannot get their hands on a community property and a position in a petition for divorce and hang on to the community property for dear life and for the rest of the life of the owners. In other words, as in this case, just take over community property and do as they please with it. I was sued for divorce. My court-contrived divorce settlement awarded me none of my community property and no payment for it. Therefore, nothing. For my community property and the money it is earning, I was awarded not one red penny. The court took all of my private property owned jointly with Joe Billman and all of the money my property is producing. I want and have asked numerous times for an accounting of my money and explanation and clarification of the court actions as to what is the result of this divorce lawsuit. What happened? The court awarded all of our community property to a state-certified corporation that did not exist when the petition for divorce was filed. The Securities and Exchange Commission responded to my inquiry that they had no information about this corporation. What are the assets? Who are the officers? Who are the investors? Where is their office located? What do they do? Examine the records. Our community property was not legally conveyed into an empty corporation. This corporation and divorce process need public explanation, clarification, and transparency. And I want my constitutional right of liberty. Thank you.
Next presenter is John Dimas.
On 4, 3, 2, 1. Judge, please. No, that way. Right there. Right there. Right there. Yeah. Right there.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, there are 2 gentlemen over there. Please. Thank you. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Here I am once again before you guys, but before I get into specifics, I just want to thank Commissioner Palacios for all the help for our neighborhood out there on North Rio Grande Care Road. I know he's done all that he can within his capabilities and within his resources, but still there's much work that still needs to be done. Sewer, because of the torrential rainfall, the septic tanks are still overfilled with sewer. Water still, dirty water, black water still backing up to the roadway. And I'll just streamline it, and I'll just read this to you right here. We, the undersigned people, would like to bring your attention to the following problem with recommendations. As you gentlemen are well aware, we, the residents of North Rio Grande Care Road, received torrential rainfall and flooding 2 weeks ago. We are living in deplorable conditions. We have septic tanks overflowing and spilling onto private property and the public roadways. We, the citizens, cannot go to the bathroom, shower, or do laundry. This is not only a great inconvenience, but a severe health hazard to the entire neighborhood. We hereby respectfully request that you furnish us with a portable bathroom trailer and portable shower trailers, if possible. I would also like to bring to your attention that a staff member, Monica, told me via telephone that Mr. Saldaña, along with a representative of the American Red Cross, went to the affected homes and families and offered to move them to a shelter or hotel room. She told me that the affected citizens refused to leave their homes and their property, and therefore were there in this situation by their own free will. I have gone forward, I have pressed forward, I asked the families that have this problem, and we respectfully disagree with Mr. Saldaña's claims of assistance to us. We, the undersigned, deny any contact by Hidalgo County Emergency Management and the American Red Cross for evacuation to a shelter or a hotel. I know that Commissioner Palacios has really, gone above and beyond the call of duty, and he's gone forth to the CSA to help these people acquire funding, get funds to pump their septic tanks, but I know it's done with the best of intentions, and I know it's going to help, but still right now the fundamental problem remains that the people still can't go to the bathroom, they still can't shower, they still can't do laundry. So, in essence, I mean, the water's gone, but the aftermath still remains. And any help that y'all could give us is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we're going to move on to our health department. What is the item, Mr. Olivares?
Item 13C. There's several items on 13C, sir.
13C?
Yes, sir.
All right.
13C-1, discussion and action, including but not limited to healthcare funding districts. Sir, there is no action on that item. Unless there's any questions, we'll move on to item 2. Item 2 is discussion and consideration and approval to draw down funds for the demonstration year 3 FY 2014 advance UC payment for the local provider participation fund in the amount of $22,762,168 and also in the general fund under $6 million, which has been appropriated for indigent health care for this year's budget. I gave a handout to you all that gives a breakdown of how the 22 million came about. That $22,762,000 is less the $82,297 worth of administrative fees. And then the $6 million is the part that is part of our annual budget for a total of $28,762,168. This is our regular LPPF, what we deal with our where we deal with our UC operations and contributions coming in dealing from the LPPF funding, local provider funding from the hospitals.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is, just for clarity, Mr. Fracio and I have been talking
Eddie,
about.
Before you go any further, last year, which is, we approved the budget of $6 million
Correct.
for this year. If we were to bring that down to $4 million, using the multiplier effect in place, how much money would that generate?
It'll be right about 12.7 million, right around there, approximately.
That would be our, I guess, would be nearing the 8%.
Yeah, the 8% is right about 13 million, sir.
Okay.
I mean, that's just ballparking it.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay. Yes, sir.
$6 million is not local provider.
No, the $6 million is the part, and I mentioned that in the presentation. $6 million is from our indigent care funding that we budgeted for this year's budget.
Well, what exactly is that? Is that the 1115 waiver or?
That's the $6 million that we provided for indigent health care that we allocate for 1115 waiver to be multiplied through 1115 waiver.
Okay, the 16 is the local provider only, the 6 is the 1115?
Correct. The 6 is our county, 6 million, and then the difference would be the LPPF.
We paid 6 last year.
Item 2 is an area where Mr. Horacio and I discussed, and this is an important point. Approval of certification of revenue for the local provider participation fund in the amount of up to, I want to make it very clear, up to $16,053,077. This is the highest level we could look at, but by this afternoon at 5 o'clock, the state of Texas is going to give us the actual final figure, quote unquote, their haircut, and that's actually a legal term that they use, their haircut figure, and that figure will come to us by this afternoon at 5 o'clock. We'll present that figure to Mr. Horacio for certification. It'll be in writing, but not until then can he certify any of the money until I get that official statement from the state. That's the way the state works, and that's what we're having to deal with. We've done it this way before. Questions on that, Mr. Horacio, or comments?
Well, my only comment is that we're going to certify the revenues, but once the amount is known. So we can do that tomorrow, whenever you have the amount.
We have to do it before, everything needs to be transferred by June 5th. So we got a day or so. I think by this afternoon, everything should be in place, and we should have everything by the morning for you.
Yeah. As long as we get the actual amount that is going to be transferred over, we can certify it.
Correct. So the action from court would be pending certification and final approval of Mr. Horacio to transfer this money. I would like that be included into the motion.
But this is only going to be for the local provider participation fund?
Correct, sir.
Not the $6 million, right?
No, not the county funding, just the LPPF funding.
Thank you. Because I would recommend approval with that.
Yes.
Condition.
Yeah, I recommend approval with that stipulation that Mr. Horacio would be the one that would approve the final certification of the LPPF funding exclusively to be sent once we get that figure from the state.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Very good, sir. Item C is approval of appropriation funds for distribution of Y3FFY 2014 IGT drawdown to fund the UC in the amount of $22,762,168 as per instructions from the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. Of course, this is all again with a final certification and approval from Mr. Horacio once we get that final figure from the state.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D is requesting approval to collect the fourth quarter LPPF. We're up to quarter 3. So to collect the fourth quarter LPPF funding on June 30th, 2015. And the reason we're asking permission to do this is the state of Texas has put a July 8th deadline to transfer that money on July 8th. Since we only meet at court twice a month, I just need to get this process going so I can get everything going to get ready for July 8th.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Sir, I arbitrarily skipped, I apologize, 13A and B. I need to go back to that with your permission.
Yes, sir.
13A and B is 13A is requesting approval to accept the memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreement between Hidalgo County and the University of Texas Health Science Center. And the aim of this agreement is to establish an agreement for the exchange of information for cooperative research between both institutions in the field of reportable communicable diseases. This is a TB research grant we have with the University of Texas San Antonio.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under 13B, sir, is requesting approval to accept the CPS Hazards Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant Contract number 2015-001134-02. The purpose of this amendment is the end of the CPS Hazards Grant contract effective June 30th, 2015, and to reduce the contract amount from $500,000 $567,198 to $504,182. And that's just, they're debundling our contract, and that's just, they're decreasing it because the year ends 1 month earlier.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Requesting the, item 2B2 is requesting the approval of the budget appropriations to reduce the grant in the amount of $63,016. Now, the reduction in this grant doesn't mean we lost that money. It's just 1 month less, but our new contract's going to kick it up on the new contract, including that month.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Court, I go to item D1 as discussion and action, but not included to healthcare 1115 waiver. There's no items there unless you have a question or concern. Okay, thank you. Somebody left their phone there.
Valde, on 6C, did we skip that, or?
Yeah,
we're going to,
It's still pending.
Yes, it's still pending.
is that the top of the,
Yes.
Yes, that is the next one.
okay, 6C, you want to handle that, Valde?
Mr. Barnes, you were on the open forum?
Yes, I want to address some issues on what you just discussed, what you just passed.
Oh, on Mr. Olivares' item.
Pardon me?
On Mr. Olivares' item.
I still didn't hear you.
On Mr. Olivares' item. Eddie Olivares, the item that he just presented?
I'm going to present it, yes.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm Jim Barnes, President of the McAllen Hidalgo County Tea Party. As is often the case, this morning's agenda had items on health care funding and an indigent health care program. As usual, there are general housekeeping and bookkeeping issues that you easily handle. But there's something seems to be lacking in these discussions. Nothing about issues, particularly in indigent health care, that indicates that it is ineffective or that it is a broken system. One would conclude that the system is working effectively. There's no complaints. So why are we trying to fix it with House Bill 1596 and SB 626? Republican committeewoman from Cameron County read the Cameron bill for health care to a GOP meeting in Brownsville. Ours is almost identical, so we can draw some conclusions from what she said. She stated that of the 27 pages, 2 pages were dedicated to indigent health care. The balance was dedicated to the bureaucracy that with voter approval would be created. This bureaucracy is appointed, unelected, and practically unaccountable to the tax-paying public. I don't see how that's going to fix any problems, let alone one that doesn't seem to exist. Recently, a member of this court stated that he didn't have any control over the appraisal district and its yearly increasing of assessed valuation of property in Hidalgo County.
No, he's not.
The assessment board is appointed, unelected, and supposedly unaccountable to one of the tax-paying leaders of county government. Let's digress a little bit. Several years ago, Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority, which we usually call the RMA, came under fire in commissioners' court meetings. I think only Commissioner Flores was on the court at the time. The RMA wasn't going anywhere and had already spent several $1 million.
Sir, let me do this. Let me give you 1 more minute, but next time I recommend that you sign up for open forum and you can talk for your full 5 minutes. But there's no public comment item, you know, at this part of the agenda. So if you can just limit it to 1 minute and then sign up for open.
My concern is...
We all have concerns. I understand that.
We have unelected boards already that aren't accountable to you. The hospital district is going to be one more. You can't even get rid of it. The RMA, you tried. The commuter rail district, you tried. There's no legislation that says you could do that in the statute. So why are we going to replace a healthcare system that is not broken and nobody can control it? Without legislation, we can't even get rid of it. This is government overreach at its worst. The healthcare district should not be brought up to the voters, and if they get a chance to vote on it, they should vote against it.
But hold on, Mr. Barnes, your fight is with the legislature, not us. We don't make the laws. The legislature
I know you don't.
was in session, and they passed a bill that says that I don't care if you get 20,000 signatures saying we shouldn't have it, if the proponents get 50 signatures that we have it, we don't have a choice. We don't have any discretion. It is mandatory that we place that item on the ballot.
Are you sure about that? Because the RMA was a problem. So was the
I don't know
healthcare.
about the RMA, I'm talking about the health.
Healthcare is going to be the same problem, sir.
No, that's
You're not
the
going to
way it
have
was
any control
explained
over
that-
it after you appoint it.
Well, we're going to look at the bill, and that's what the senator told me, that's the way it got passed, and I'm assuming that he's very familiar with it since he was involved in passing it.
My question is who's going to benefit?
It's what?
Who's going to benefit? The people that spend $500,000 to try to get the hospital district passed last time?
Well,
Why don't they spend that money on indigent health care? If they really care about indigent health care, why don't they spend that money on that?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, just for the record, I want to make this real clear. This action you took has to do with the local participation provider fund under Senate Bill 1623. Has nothing to do with the hospital district. It has nothing to do with any of that. This is actually to help supplement the services provided through 1115 waiver for the residency programs and other programs, 72 different programs valley-wide. I just want to make sure that there's no confusion by the viewers of this issue. Thank you.
Judge,
you're up.
We're just missing one item on 6C and then go down.
Let me give it to them.
Okay. 6C, I guess because Valdo's not here, I'll read it. It's discussion, consideration, and possible action on letter of support for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority SH 365 project.
Move for approval.
Wait a minute. Is anybody here from the RMA? No?
Louis was here.
The only way I want to vote for it is if anybody from the RMA at all here? Nobody? If they promise to connect it up to Conway, I mean, come on, they were going to stop it on Zalduas. I guess we can take no action on it.
You want to wait on that?
Yeah.
I'll rescind my vote there.
Or you can make a
From
motion.
what I understand, they need to.
But you can make a motion to that effect, Judge. I mean,
Well, if that's,
Commissioner?
That's the motion I would want, but I want those guys from the RMA to be here. Let me see if they can find
to
it.
extend the limits to the existing, to the
Yeah.
Conway, I agree.
Why don't you make that motion?
That'll be my motion then.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend the letter to include the part all the way to Conway. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
To amend the letter, is it?
To amend the letter to include the limits all the way to
Conway.
Conway.
Number 8, Tax Office, Paul Villarreal.
Morning, Commissioners. Santos Castilleja, Motor Vehicle Manager. I'm here with Willie Palacios, our accountant of the program. We're here to discussion, consideration, and seeking approval to execute an interlocal agreement between the County of Hidalgo and the City of Progreso for implementation of a new scofflaw procedure and process for vehicle registration denial services. The purpose of the agreement is to state the terms and the conditions under which the county tax assessor collector may refuse to register certain motor vehicles when the county tax assessor collector receives information from the city that the owner of the vehicle has an outstanding warrant for failure to appear or failure to pay a fine on a complaint that involves a violation of traffic law as defined by the Texas Transportation Code 702.001.
You need action on that?
Yes.
Move for approval?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Going back to 7, Executive Officer Valdeguerra.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's no action under item 7A, 1, 2, and 3. 7B, we've already discussed. Before we do the presentation, let me just do some real quick housekeeping. Item 7E, I'm asking the court to accept a settlement check from Geico Insurance Company in the amount of $1,504.98. This will settle an auto accident claim with one of our county vehicles.
Move approval. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 7F, the City of McAllen is requesting permission for right-of-way entry survey and appraising. It's a tract of land containing 19.09 acres situated here in the county, also being part of portion lot 48-3, West Addition, Cheyenne Subdivision, and this is in Precinct 3.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
As always, it's with the authority for the county judge to sign the acceptance of entry on property form. Item G, I'm asking the court approval for the county judge to sign and submit a request for approval of temporary debris management site for debris resulting from declared state federal disaster to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, which would allow the county to use 2 of its facilities to dispose of brush generated from the May 2015 storm events.
Move for approval. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Going back to item 7C, presentation by Lineberger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson, LLP, on the delinquent tax collection report for the period of January 1st, 2015 through March 31st, 2015.
Good afternoon, members of the court. We want to just give a brief report. We know it's been a long meeting, and we're going to cut down the report substantially. With me today is Linebarger partner Gus Martinez, attorney Kelly Rivera Salazar, and Anissa de la Garza. Gentlemen, we took over as Hidalgo County's delinquent tax collection attorneys on January 1st, 2015, and we are proud to be here to present our first report. You have a packet that contains information on our mailings, contacts, litigation. That's in your packet for review. As of January 1st, 2015, the county tendered to attorneys collecting delinquent taxes $33,265,561. In the first 3 months of this year, we have jointly collected $3,938,419, which represents a 10.12% increase over this same period in 2014. You should also note that the delinquent tax roll was about $2 million higher in 2014 than the roll that we've been tendered. I briefly want to let you know that we're going to continue with mailings, personal contacts, litigation. As you know, the county has a 6-month wrap-up period with the former delinquent tax firm, and their involvement will end on June 30th of this month. On July 1st, less than 30 days or 30 days from now, we will be substituting in and we will be handling all litigation involving Hidalgo County delinquent tax actions. I want to share with you that each quarter we are going into each of the 4 precincts, and we are having community outreach events where we can talk to people along with members of the Hidalgo County Tax Office and the Hidalgo County Appraisal District. We can answer questions on ad valorem taxes and collections. These are open and free to the public. We already had one in January in FAR at the FAR Biz event. We had one in Mission the second quarter at the Mission EDC, and we're planning one for Precinct 3 upcoming. We're proud to announce that as of today, we have 3 of the 4 locations open. When we came in January, we promised the court that in order to have more access and to be more convenient to county taxpayers, we would have a presence in each precinct. As you know, our headquarters are here in Edinburgh at 805 South Pin Oak, but we'd like the public to know that in Precinct 3, if they have any questions or need any information involving delinquent taxes, They're free to come to the Linebarger office at 1518 North Conway, again in Mission. In McAllen for Precinct 2, 400 North McCall. We have staff there 40 hours a week. And by the end of this month, we'll have a presence in Precinct 1 in Elsa. The county is finishing up with construction and remodeling at a building there. And so we will have offices in each of your precincts, and we will be available there to take payments and to answer questions and provide taxpayers with any information they may need regarding taxes. So Gus, Kelly, Anissa, myself, we're here if you have any questions. We thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, we have item 7D, which is discussion and possible action on the redemption under Texas Tax Code 34.21 of the property struck off to Hidalgo County trustee in cause number T-500-08-H. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Hiram Gutierrez, partner with Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott. I'm here on a property redemption. Back in June 2nd of 2014, a judgment was taken on a tax case. On September 2nd, 2014, the property in question was put up for tax sale. No winning bids were received at that tax sale. The property was struck off to Hidalgo County as trustee for all the entities. A shares deed was recorded on October 9th, 2014. The defendants have retained attorney Ricardo Ramos, who's helping them with the redemption of the property, and he is seeking to redeem this property for the taxpayers. The right under Section 34.21 of the tax code is absolute. The taxpayer has a right to redeem the property, and we ask that the court authorize the judge to sign the redemption deed.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Where's that property at? Can you say?
The property is in within La Jolla Independent School District.
It's not in La Jolla City, La Jolla. It's in Sullivan City, no?
I believe so,
Bolitas
Commissioner.
area, the Pozo.
I saw that City of Sullivan is one of the taxing entities. No, I'm afraid not. No, it's outside the any city's jurisdiction.
It's south by the military road.
Yeah, the legal description, which I have here.
The whole, that's why nobody bought it. After they bought it, they freaked out.
Yeah.
Is Track 1, Lot 42, Prairie View Heights, Phase 1 in Hidalgo County.
Is that where the old Caliche pit's at?
I don't think that's that property,
It's not,
Commissioner.
you need to know, let people know when they're going to try to bid on that one.
Yeah, this is actually, there's actually a home in this property, and they're claiming it as a homestead. The Caliche pit, when it goes back up?
Yeah, you need to let them know.
I sure will.
Yeah. Because I believe somebody purchased it and then they didn't show up.
Yeah, they backed out of the deal. Yeah, the Sheriff's Department banned them from being able to purchase any more properties for 6 months, I think.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Number 9. Number 9, constables. Starting with Constable Precinct 1.
Commissioners, Sergeant Raul Lozano on behalf of Constable Celestino Avila Jr. Approval to appropriate the budget for the Constable's Office Precinct 1 portion of the fiscal year 2014 Operation Stone Garden Grant Phase 1 in the amount of $77,536.36.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 9B.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Armando Campos for Constable Martin Cantu, Precinct 2. Item 9B, approval to appropriate the budget for the Office of Constable Precinct 2, portion of fiscal year 2014 Operation Stone Garden on the Grant Phase 1, the total amount of $117,500.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Item C, Constable Precinct 3.
Good afternoon, Chief Deputy Gonzalez for Precinct 3, Constable's Office. Constable 3, Precinct Operation Stone Garden 1284. Approval and to appropriate the budget for Constable Precinct 3, portion of the FY 2014 Operation Stone Garden, Grant Phase Number 1, and the total amount of $142,026.12.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We also have Constable Precinct 3 stop truancy, 1285. Approval to review the agreement between Hidalgo County and the following school districts. Stop truancy program for 2015-2016 school year. La Jolla ISD, Mission CISD, and Sherryland ISD.
Move for approval. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries.
And this is also pending legal review.
Oh, everything's getting warm. Water's getting warm.
We've already taken up E, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Item 10, Sheriff's Office.
Hi there, Richard Ozuna, Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County. On behalf of our Sheriff, Eddie Guerra, under 10A, Operation Stone Garden, just requesting authorization and approval to accept the extension for the 2013 Operation Stone Garden grant with a new termination date of 7/31 of 2015.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under number 2 is the authorization and approval for the county judge as the authorized official to sign the required document for this grant.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under item B is consideration and approval of an interlocal cooperation agreement between County of Moore and the County of Hidalgo under the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office for the use of a CopSync demo user package.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under item number 2 is we're requesting the authority for someone from the Sheriff's Office representative to sign for the demo use of this program.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all we have for now.
Number 11, Juvenile Probation.
Commissioners, Mr. Siva couldn't be with us this morning, so he asked that I present this item for him. Under the Juvenile Probation Department, item 11A, he's requesting approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between Duval County and the County of Hidalgo, and this is for the housing of juvenile offenders.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The second part of that action item would be approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement with, between Duval County and the County of Hidalgo for residential services.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Number 12, Human Resources.
Morning. Hello, good afternoon. Our item is for the elections. Number 1, requesting waiver of the budget amendment policy, personnel-related amendments.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Number 2, discussion, consideration, and approval to create the following temporary full-time positions through the end of the year 2015, effective July 6, 2015 through December 31st, 2015. Slot T-172, 173, 174, 175, 176, and 177, elections clerk at $10,504 or $10.10 per hour.
Move for approval on 2, 3, and 4.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
We did 13. 14, IT Department.
Valde.
I will present for IT as special leave as well. The IT Department. For the IT Department, we're asking authorization approval for new wireless device services through the county's membership participation contract, or DIR, for Verizon Wireless for the following 2 departments. Commissioner Precinct 4, 2 data cards and 2 cell phones, all for the office use.
Move for approval.
Second.
All
Is
in
that
favor?
precinct 2 or precinct 4?
Precinct 4.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. 15, Urban County.
Good afternoon. Commissioners, I'm going to request that Precinct 4 make their presentation before our item.
It's over here.
See.
Okay, what item is that?
That would be item 20, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
20, Precinct 4, Commissioner Palacio's office.
Morning, Commissioners. Joe Ochoa from Precinct 4. Item 20A, requesting approval to rescind action taken on ICA between Hidalgo County and the City of McAllen, Owen Drive subdivision, previously approved on 5/5/15 for a sanitary sewer project.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 28-2, approval interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and the City of McAllen, Texas, Hohen Drive subdivision.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 28-3, in accordance with the Texas Government Code 791.014, approval of proposed project with the City of McAllen, Texas, and the county through Precinct 4 to assist in that certain sanitary sewer project located in Hohen Drive subdivision.
Move for approval.
Second, with a comment, want to give commendation to Raul Cecine out there. He did do the design for the sewer line that was running through. Also want to give McAllen PUB recognition for the 500,000+ that they gave us for that project, as well as Urban County, who's assisted us through the entire process for the EDAP grant. So it was one of the greatest goals that we ever had, and it took all these entities to really assist us on that goal. Second.
I think that Mr. Cecine to the microphone.
Mr. Cecine, can you come forward? Just want to give recognition where it's due. I know we have an issue pertaining to this.
What item are we?
Mr. Cecine, we're on 28.
Okay, 28.
28-3.
Yes, sir.
I had a question. I believe there was apparently an issue raised with respect to this item. Is that correct?
I don't know if this item is maybe on the one under Urban County. This one is for the interlocal. And basically, we've already worked out the interlocal with the City of McAllen, the county's participation along with McAllen and the state funding that we're receiving to get this project moving. So
on this item, you're asking for approval of
on the interlocal,
project.
yes, sir. That's the one that you yourself and the McAllen PUB have already discussed, and everything's in order. Yes,
so
sir.
no issues there.
Not on this one, no, sir, not yet. But I'm here to answer any questions on the Urban County item as well, sir. Yes, sir.
So on 3, we had a motion and a second?
You had a motion and a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Back up to Urban County. Is that it?
Thank you.
Urban
Yes,
County.
we're on to item 15, which is the Urban County section. The first item on there, 15A, is the Urban County requesting a waiver of technicality on a non-acknowledgement of addendum number 1 by the apparent low bidder as it is in the best interest of the county to do so. This is the one, Steve, where we're going to request the waiver to not require that the contractor have been submitted, or potential contractor to submit the acknowledgement of the addendum. I have a copy of the notice that we published in the paper that indicates that the County of Hidalgo may, at their discretion, waive technical issues. We consider this to be a technical issue. We do, however, would like to tell the court that we did have a contractor come forward advising us that they intended to submit, or they did submit a letter of protest regarding this particular issue.
Can you, Mr. Cecine, come to the microphone?
Okay. Yeah. Now it's your turn.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cecine, did you review this bid?
Yes, sir, we did. I'm the engineer of record. We reviewed the bid, yes, sir.
Can you tell from the face amount of the bid whether the bid amount incorporates the change made by the addendum?
Yes, sir. We also received in writing confirmation from the bidder that the cost for the bid itself included all the addendum issues, which were just clarification issues on behalf of McAllen that they needed. So we do have that in writing as well from the contractors.
But you can tell from the face of the bid it included everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No issue?
I'm ready now.
Okay. So you need a motion?
Second.
Is that a motion, Joseph?
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 2.
Okay, now that that's out, I would like to request on behalf of Precinct 4, we're requesting the consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with BG Vanguard Engineering LLC, being the lowest bidder meeting all specifications and all requirements for the Texas Department of Agriculture TDA contract 713045 in the amount of $1,220,170.75. And this project consists of first-time rehabilitation, single-unit residential sewer services within Colonia Hohen Drive subdivision located in Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B is requesting the award of bids and approval of contracts to Quality Investments, G&G Contractors, A1 Installation and Real Construction for the demolition and reconstruction of the following. Number one is 1 unit in the city of San Juan and 2 units in the countywide area for a total contract amount of $164,677 to Quality Investments.
Move for approval?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B2 is 1 unit in the city of Edcouch and 1 unit in the city of Elsa for a total contract amount of $109,260 to G&G Contractors.
Move for approval?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B3 is 1 unit in the city of Edcouch for a total contract amount of $54,500 to A1 Insulation.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B4 is 2 units in the city of Mercedes, 1 unit in the countywide area for a total contract amount of $157,500 to Real Construction.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 15C is requesting authority to eliminate item 5, which is a sludge dewatering facility, and item 6, which is a site gate, listed under Exhibit B, which is our itemized bid form for the City of La Villa wastewater improvement project.
Diana,
Yes.
maybe this is out of this, not a good question to ask, but on those, building those homes for people, like the ones we just built here,
Yes.
you couldn't break it down into different phases? Because it seems like it's all going to the east.
Well, we have, I'm sorry that's happening,
And there's a lot of
Commissioner,
people in
but
the west that are needing
Yes.
houses, and they're not numbered, they're way down there.
we have a waiting list, and we take each person as they come in. It's first come, first served.
Yeah, that's what I mean, there's a waiting list, but
Yes.
most of them are from the east part of it.
Unless we create a policy that says we're going to do so many per precinct,
Yeah, because I've gotten calls before, people waiting, and they say they're way down there.
we do. Since we created the housing program, it was first come, first served. There was a period of time that we were doing a lot of houses on the west, but
Yeah,
that
there
was.
was two I remember, I recall there one time, a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago.
See,
Yeah.
but if you'd like me, I can look into it, Commissioner.
Yeah, all righty,
Okay.
no problem.
Thank
Just thought
you.
I'd ask.
Okay, we'll look into it.
Doesn't hurt to ask, right?
We want to be fair throughout the county.
Yeah.
Have you,
So item C is, I finished off with requesting that you, authority to eliminate items 5 and 6.
Move for approval?
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting, also on behalf of La Villa, requesting consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with Science Brothers Construction LLC for the wastewater improvement project in the amount of $583,000.
Move for approval?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D is approval of land acquisition for tracks 1A and 1B for the Benitez Drain Project, which is funded by the General Land Office.
Move for approval?
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Our final item is requesting approval to declare and dispose of surplus property and clear inventory of missing property listed in Exhibit A.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
And for the record, I would like to say that the missing property dates back to the 90s, so, just so we know. Thank you.
16, Texas AgriLife Extension Services.
Andrea.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and gentlemen. Andrea Valdez from the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. And every year, the AgriLife Extension Service reports on the number of hours our volunteers have donated to promoting the mission of Extension and assisting in program educational needs. And for 2014, our Hidalgo County office had 779 volunteers that contributed over 19,000 hours, 19,604 to be specific, to the people of Hidalgo County. Our volunteers have different areas of expertise and help agents in different program areas. And here are my fellow agents to introduce some of the volunteers that they work with.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Ashley Gregory. I am the County Horticulture Agent for the County of Hidalgo and representing the Deep South Texas Master Gardener Association. Today we have Ricardo Carranza. Ricardo, just come up and join us.
Hello, my name is Joanne Modesta. I'm the Family Resource Agent, and we have a program called the Master Calling Volunteers. They meet every Tuesday from 9 to 11:30, and I would like to introduce our president, Ms. Isabel Ochoa. Also, Ms. Mary Moreno, Ms. Rosie Castillo, and Ms. Juanita Molina. So, Ms. Mary Moreno would like to talk to you about her experience as a Master Clothing Volunteer, and also we would like to give you a token appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Andrea. I just want to thank you. After I retired, I didn't know what to do. And after 45 years in banking and dealing with the public, it was like, what do I do next? But right before I retired, I went and got my certification to teach sewing. That has been my passion. And through networking, I found this great program. And we meet every Tuesday. Last Wednesday, we did a little project. And I'm very grateful and very thankful for the program. Thank you so much.
And just to stress, all of our volunteers are unpaid and they're very generous with their time. And because of this, we calculate the amount of wages that our volunteers have saved us if they were paid staff and working this number of hours. We would like to present a saved wages contribution to you as a reflection of our volunteers' hard work and donated time to educating the people of Hidalgo County.
Thank you so much.
Listo para Christmas.
I'll leave it to the judge.
For everything that y'all do.
Thank you.
We've done 17 already, so let's go on to 18, Planning Department, TJ.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. First item is a discussion and possible action to execute the LPA Standard Utility Agreement for State Highway 364, La Homa Road with AEP Texas Central Company. We're recommending approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
The next items are subdivisions for preliminary approval. We had a meeting on May 28th. The County Advisory Board recommended approval for the following for preliminary. Citrus Village Subdivision. Citrus Village Subdivision. It's a 37-lot subdivision in Precinct 4. Los Osos Phase 1 Subdivision. It's a 55-lot subdivision in Precinct 4. Rio Vegas Ranches Subdivision. It's a 17-lot subdivision in Precinct 4. Vasquez Acre Subdivision, it's a 2-lot subdivision in Precinct 4. San Jacinto Estates Number 9 is a 28-lot subdivision in Precinct 1. Las Delicias Phase 2 Subdivision is a 51-lot subdivision in Precinct 1. Las Comadres Acres Phase 3 subdivision is a 65-lot subdivision in Precinct 3. And PRB Alberta Acre subdivision is a 20 single-family lot and 5 commercial lot subdivision in Precinct 4.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is final approval of financial guarantee for Terry Vegas Ranches subdivision. It's a 2-lot subdivision in Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Last items are partial reimbursements of a financial guarantee for Mirage Ranches subdivision for $10,500 and Flamingo Ranches subdivision for $3,000. They're both for septic tank systems. We're recommending approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
19, Pepe.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. On behalf of Commissioner Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2, Sanitation, approval and authorization to increase the current change fund by $100 from $100 to $200 for the sanitation collection permits in accordance with Texas Local Government Code 130.902.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Pretty boy.
That's all.
21, Budget and Management, Sergio Cruz.
Morning, Commissioner. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 21A is approval of right-of-way acquisition statement, encroachment statement, and relocation and advisory assistance certification as it relates to the TxDOT project State Highway 364 from State Highway 495 to FM 1924 with authority for the county judge to sign all required documents.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 21B1 is approval to pay the rental expenses from general fund in the amount of $50,128.50 for the lease of office space in 427 East Duranta Avenue, Suite 107, Alamo, Texas. And this will be for the Urban County Program for the period of July 1st through December 31st of 2015.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 21B2, 1B is approval of the interdepartmental transfer for the Urban County Program.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 21B2 is approval of 2015 appropriation of funds from the Road and Bridge unreserved fund balance for the countywide administration contingency in the amount of $37,928.
Move for approval.
Second. Mingo.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 21C1 is approval of 2015 interfund transfer from countywide administration contingency to precinct 4 maintenance in the amount of $63,546, and this is for the purchase of equipment needed to assist with the recent flooding events.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. 22, Purchasing. Ms. Marty.
Yes, sir. Purchasing, Martha Salazar. 22A1, presentation of the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid, meeting all specifications and requirements for general printing services and related supplies. 21 packets were distributed, requested and distributed, 5 bids received, 1 qualifying bid, EA Stone DBA Gulf Data Products. Recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Precinct 1, authority with approval to purchase RCT 350 Bros Broom Sweeper with water tank from responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best sealed quote in the amount $45,000. And this is year-to-date. It can be purchased under quotes because year-to-date we have not expended any money in that commodity code.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2, presentation of the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid. This is for hauling services for millings. We had 4 packets requested and distributed, 2 bids received. We're recommending South Star Transport Limited.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Commissioners, I'll go ahead and take item 22B3, A through C. I'm requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262.024A4, professional appraisal services. I could have...
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B would be the presentation of a scoring grid for the purpose of ranking by Commissioners Court of the firms graded and evaluated through the county's approved pool of professional appraisal service on an as-needed basis for precinct number 1. For the record, Harvey L. Pearson, HLH Appraisal Services, score of 76. David Nittler, Appraisal and Consulting, score of 78. George J. Salazar, score of 82. Right. Do the commissioners wish to rank them in that order?
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C is authority for the Purchase Department to negotiate a professional contract with the number 1 ranked firm, which would be George J. Salazar, for professional appraisal services on an as-needed basis for precinct number 1.
But who's going to be doing the
I will,
negotiation?
as I've done in the past, I will do the negotiation.
He and
So
the contracts manager.
Purchasing, but that would not
And you're
be-
doing it because of,
I'm sorry?
you're doing this because of what?
Oh, I'm doing it because Mr. Salazar is related to Ms.
Yes.
Salazar, Ms. Salazar.
Yes.
So-
And it'll be
so
myself
it's
and the
not- it's not purchasing, it's going to be your?
Mr. Yes, for the record, myself and the contracts manager at Purchasing Department.
Do we have a motion? Yes, sir. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Marty, I'll turn it
Thank you,
over
Mr.
to you.
Chair. Item 4, acceptance and approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between County of Hidalgo and City of Weslaco. This is for improvements of 18th Street from FM 1015 to South Airport and South Airport from 18th Street to mile 5.5 north and 5.5 mile north south to Airport Drive to Pleasant View Drive.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And B is acceptance and approval interlocal project improvements just as they were on item A above.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, Precinct 2, requesting authority to advertise with approval of the plans and specifications developed by Raul Cecin, Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 for Hidalgo County Precinct 2, Sioux Road improvements from I Road to 3,500 feet east of Raul Longoria.
Move for approval.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D, Precinct 3, acceptance and approval of work authorization 1 with an estimated cost of $6,692.97 as submitted by project engineer LNG Engineering for the construction materials testing services for mile 9.5 paving improvements, Conway Avenue to Trosper Road.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
E1, Precinct 4, acceptance and approval to execute the final form of professional engineering agreement with LNG Consulting Engineers Incorporated, LNG Engineers for job-specific project FM 2220 Environmental Assessment Public Involvement Schematic for the Ware Road FM 2220 from FM 676, Mile 5 to FM 1925.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This is acceptance of approval of work authorization 1 with an estimated cost of $1,229,660 as submitted under the project-specific contract for FM 22 environmental assessment and as described in item A
Move for approval.
herein.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Requesting authority to purchase one KUB M9960 HFC tractor, more specifically described in supporting documentation, through the GSA Disaster Recovery category with contract GS 30F0018W in the amount of, pardon me here, I've got some paperwork here.
Is this the amount here?
Yes, I have the amount. I just-
37,696?
I had up some backup documentation. Yes, sir.
Move
Here
for
we go.
approval.
With
Second.
$37,696. Sorry about the delay.
That's from Amigo Power Equipment. We have a motion and a second.
Correct.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, this is, item B, I'm going to take no action. We have attempted to find a hydraulic sidearm ditcher through the same GSA contract under the disaster recovery, but we cannot find one. Therefore, there'll be no action there, but we'll go with item C, which is authority to advertise a sealed bid for the purchase of a bar ditch clearing maintenance equipment for Hidalgo Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 3 is action to exercise Hidalgo County's option to suspend AIA contract number 072A with Keurig Enterprises LLC DBA Foremost Construction as stated in section 14.3 under the AIA 201 general conditions for Precinct 4's construction of a community resource center in San Carlos. By forwarding a written letter to architect of record Mata Garcia to proceed to notify the contractor, which is Keurig, suspension by the owner for convenience. Effective pay after application 8 is approved by Commissioners Court.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item F is Health and Human Services Department. This is for an outreach service requesting acceptance and approval of an agreement between Hidalgo County Department of Health and Human Services and Entravisión Communication Corporation, DBA KNVO TV, to provide series of advertisement information slots that pertain to immunization awareness.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Smarty, did we bid this out?
No, this has been reviewed through legal counsel, and it is part of a commodity code. It's within.
Okay, so it's within the procurement process?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It doesn't come anywhere close to the expenditure of $50,000. Even in the aggregate year-to-date, we have not expended that kind of money.
But in the aggregate with respect to this type of advertisement?
Exactly.
Or advertisement in general?
No, this specific type of advertising. We have a commodity code for each one of these.
Oh, they're individual.
This is for TV ads. This is not newspaper ads.
Okay.
This is, yes, and there's a commodity code for that kind.
Okay, so for the record, we're going to be well
Oh,
within?
yes, we're well within the record.
Okay.
There's very little of this type of advertising.
Where are
done.
we? Do we have a motion?
On the.
We recommend approval on
Right, and there's a
F1.
motion and second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
G for WIC, presentation of the responsible vendor submitting sole bid detailed in the tabulation sheet contained herein. This was for a lease of office space in Alton. We had 4 packets requested and distributed. 1 sole bid was received, and we are recommending award R Real LLC for Mission.
Move for approval. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Colonia Access Program, Precinct 4, acceptance and approval of the following for CAP number 086, Rankin subdivision between Hidalgo County and RDH Site and Concrete LLC as submitted through the project engineer Dos Logistics. A, final construction contract approved for award on 3/31/15 in the amount of $735.88. That's A.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 262-031, and in the interest of expediting the project's progress, requesting authority and approval for precinct commissioner or his designee. I don't have that name, Commissioner.
If you can put Lulu Lucio.
Maria Lucio?
Out of our office, she handles all the.
All right. To exercise change orders that involve an increase or decrease in cost of $50,000 or less.
Lulu Lucio.
L-U-L-U, Lulu.
Maria,
The original
I'm sorry, for the record, it's Maria Lucio.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Maria Lucio, it's Maria de Lourdes, and so everybody calls her Lulu.
Yeah.
It's like we call Mingo something else, but I don't want to say it.
I do recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Sheriff's Department, approval and acceptance of the final negotiated agreement between Hidalgo County and the Geo Group Incorporated, as ranked by Commissioners Court April 14th of 2015 for services in connection with the placement, housing, detention, and supervision of Hidalgo County inmates.
Move for approval.
Second.
Go ahead. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That is all I have. Thank you.
I just want to give thanks to everybody that helping out. We started yesterday with our cleanup with a brush in Precinct 1. I want to thank all the commissioners, the judge, and Ricardo Saldaña, the Mario from the Emergency Management, the City of McAllen, City of Mission, and Cameron County for cooperating with us. It went very well yesterday. Hopefully, we'll have a good run this week and try and catch up with it most of the weekend. So, thank you.
You have anything in executive session?
Yes, sir. We do need to go into executive session.
Oh, where am I? Read it for me. What number is it?
It's 23A. 23.
Okay, Commissioners Court may go into closed session pursuant to Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 and 551.072, discuss the following: real estate acquisition and pending or potential litigation.
Move for approval.
Second.
You've also got C and D.
And C and D.
And E.
And E. Do I need to read them out, or just C, D, and E?
C, D, and E.
C, D, and E.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll be right back.
¿Se acabó?
We still got three.
Well, we're now reconvening.
Back in open
Commissioners
session.
Court. Open session.
Commissioners, before we go back to my open session item for item 25, open session, I'd like to go back to item 15D, which was action taken by the court on a land acquisition. I'm asking the court to rescind the action on item 15D as it pertains to land acquisition of tracks 1A and 1B for the Penitas Drain Project.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And under the same item, item 15D, I'm asking the court to take action for the approval of land acquisitions tracks 1A and 1B for the Penitas Drain Project GLO 12-406-006453/DRS 210068, subject to receipt of a clean environmental report.
Move for approval.
Subject to what?
Subject to the receipt of a clean environmental report. We have a motion.
Move for approval.
Need a second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Now, if we can go, with your permission, Commissioners, item 25, open session. 25A, there's no action to be taken under real estate acquisition, appropriation for same. 25B, there's no action to be taken pending and or potential litigation. 25C, CL 13-2016-D, Mario Herrera and Roxana Gonzalez versus Hidalgo County. Judge, Commissioners, for the record and on motion, I'd like for the court to accept a settlement agreement as it pertains to CL 13-2016-D, Mario Herrera and Roxana Gonzalez versus Hidalgo County in the total amount of $50,000.
Move for approval.
15?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0?
5-0.
Motion carries.
And for the record, I do want to point out that the settlement proceeds are coming from our insurance carrier. Item 25D, C-2643-11-C, Thomas Fonseca et al. Versus City of West Loco and the County of Hidalgo. Judge, or Commissioners, I'd like for the court to entertain a motion in settlement of C-2643-11C, Thomas Fonseca et al. Versus City of West Loco and County of Hidalgo as it pertains to the County of Hidalgo in the total amount of $19,000. Checks, if the court approves the settlement, it would be $4,000 payable to Thomas Fonseca and Law Office of Bobby Garcia, PC, and $15,000 payable to Isidra Fonseca and Law Office of Bobby Garcia, PC.
Move for approval.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Claim of Karina Yvette Esquivel. Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $734.62.
Move for approval.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is that it, Valde, or?
Yes, sir. There's
mo-
no, right. There's
No other action needed. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
We have a motion, second. And a
Second.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Court adjourned.